It's not here. Get that. Is that something on gravity?
No.
Okay. I clicked no, but okay.
It'll need to be. Yeah, he's not on yet. I choose somebody. Representative, I will. And I want to. Not just in
What about Molly?
Let's have it. Again. To. But that you were put on it, I can do that, there was no concern with it. They go on this. Those two, I forget. Maybe the other two. So. Perhaps. Yeah, I think I'm not going to think of it. I've got it. I can do infrastructure. We'll come back to the other. Okay. We'll take it over. I'm sure. I'll make sure we have to. Oh, yeah. No. Then we have to have a little. We know what we're talking. I'm gonna read one. Okay. That's an at large. He does this for a living. I got my two up here, and make some statement with you. If you want to, when you bring it up for the.
Are you able to tell if Molly is attending?
Yeah.
Via Zoom? Okay, let me know.
I need to have no knowledge about it. Simple. Really, thanks.
Let me see if I have. Yeah, I have it. 719-7429. It's packed out there too.
That actually here? No, in there. He sat in the chair you had been in.
And you said the recorder is working, but you don't know if it's going to last.
It won't do. We don't get enough minutes. There's minutes associated.
This doesn't have it won't kick off after a couple hours. Will it? I mean,
And if you want, you're done talking. Yeah, you turn it off. I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna touch this. And if it goes wrong,
I'm leaving mine where it is. I feel intimidated. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Good. Did you turn them down at 8 a.m. or they would have taken care of you? Mhm. What's this air conditioner on? What's it in here? Cause it feels like 70 something. Yeah, I keep my house at 68. This is definitely warmer than where I was sitting a few minutes ago. So they had two of them?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, we got a lot to say.
Gotta be repeated if you don't. Let's see here. Oh,
I did not get a response.
oh no. This is my troublesome friend that sends me stuff he should. Need to cut that thing. Yeah,
No, that's perfect.
yeah.
Says appendix A, read it.
Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the chairs. We gotta have access. You have to be able to go in and out. There's probably a building maximum too for the building. We need to look at that. And if we need to. Let's move somewhere else. Getting close. Apple time. That's Billy Wayne's favorite thing to do. Hey, it's not 5 o'clock till Apple says it's 5 o'clock.
What work for TMA? 1 minute. Maybe popping on the income and never the flat the road. Before work, it's even like.
There you go.
It's 6 p.m. Sorry to make you jump. Everybody, please rise. And I'd ask John Ortiz to lead us in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, today we thank you for the opportunity to gather here. Father, we would thank you for your blessings upon this city, upon each council member, city employee, and citizen here today. Father, grant our council today wisdom to make decisions that are fair, just, and beneficial to everyone. Let today's conversation be marked by respect, clarity, and genuine desire to serve our community. Father, may peace dwell in our streets, hope fill our homes, and your hand rest upon our city. In your name we pray. Amen.
The flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Under the second flag, I pledge allegiance to the United one faith under God. Thank you very much. Would you please be seated? Item 3, citizen comments. At this time, members of the audience may comment on any city-related subject not on the agenda. When it's time to talk about something on the agenda, we'll get to it when we have that agenda on the floor. Anyone wishing to speak shall sign in before the meeting with their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise allowed by City Council. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from discussing items not listed on the agenda A member of the audience that desires to speak during city council's consideration of any specific agenda items is requested to notify city staff prior to the start of the meeting. So it's now time for citizen comments, if any.
My name's Kenneth Young. I live at 2419 Avenue G in Nederland. I've talked to the city manager as well as George and Dennis about it. But there was a house at 2411 Avenue G that was a house and a garage. They got torn down and they built 3 houses on that property. And I'm currently having issues with water flowing into my yard. I mean, at a pretty good rate. And then if you look at even the eaves on the house, the roofs are real steep. And then they built the eaves to kind of come like that. And when it rained real hard a couple months ago, that water came down. It just flew right over my fence. I mean, literally, I could have been standing in my yard taking a shower. Again, I was told by either George or Dennis that they're supposed to put some special guttering on there. You know, I haven't seen it yet, but they're not through yet. And I was told by the city manager, I believe, that they're supposed to put some sort of mesh on the fence. Is that right? Were you the one to tell me that?
Is your microphone on? Is your microphone on?
Yes.
But anyway, I just want it looked into because I want actually on record, because when I just called, it's not on record. The other thing was my house was the first house built on Avenue G 2419 years ago. So there's no culverts under my driveway. Everything was graded down from it. For some reason, right after these 3 houses is a drainage ditch. And all the water flowed that way. Now the water flows this way in the ditch. And it puddles right there on my driveway because it can't go over it to go flow down the ditch to go the other way. So somehow when they graded it, they got it graded backwards and it should grade towards the drainage ditch, not towards my house. So that was the main thing I just want to bring up about my house. The other thing I want to bring up is nothing to do with this, but I did call, I believe, Dennis on a business, a liquor store on 23rd and Nederland Avenue. When you're coming out 23rd to Nederland Avenue, to look down to the right, you almost have to have the nose of your truck in the oncoming traffic this way to make sure you can turn out. Dennis told me that George went out and measured it, told him to move it, but it has yet to be moved. But the reason I'm bringing it up is not just that. We should have a city ordinance that says these big billboard signs are not allowed in the city, and we've allowed them. Plus, there is a state law that says tobacco and liquor cannot be advertised on a sign outside the windows of business within 1,000 feet of a church, school, or public playground. I believe that Church of Christ is very close to that thing. And the way that the law reads on tobacco, it's from a point on the property nearest the highway to a point on the property nearest the highway, where the liquor is from a point on the property nearest the front door to a point on the property nearest the front door. So they're a little bit different, but they're either advertising tobacco or liquor on that sign, and they're not the only ones that would fall into the measurements from the school properties or from a church property.
Your 3 minutes is up, Mr.
Okay.
Young. What was the address there on Nederland Avenue you were just describing?
23rd and Nederland Avenue.
23rd and Nederland
I
Avenue.
don't know the exact address.
That's okay.
Right on the
I didn't
corner.
get the other street.
Got it now?
I do have it now.
Thank you.
Yes,
you, Mr.
sir.
Young.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other citizen have a citizen comment?
Good evening. My name is Jolie Shipley and I live at 8765 Holmes Road. It is not on the agenda tonight, or maybe it is the entire agenda. Right is right, wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter if one person speaks up or doesn't speak up. There are many in this city who are contacting each of you elected officials, as well as the city of employees, as well as myself, begging me to make comments because they're too shy to do it. And so I want to remind each of you as you embark on this meeting tonight, It doesn't matter whether one speaks or a dozen speaks. And it doesn't matter if you think we're watching you or not watching you. You each have a duty to do what is right. I would bring up to you today, as my shirt notes, Appendix A, Section 8. If you haven't read it, I have copies here with me, and I'll be happy to provide a copy to anyone that needs one tonight, but I think it's going to be relevant throughout the meeting. If you want one, raise your hand or nod at me later and I'll give you a copy. But it's critical that this council not only do the right thing, but research it and know the right thing. I know that in the June 9th city council meeting, after an executive session, there was a comment made, there would be no action taken. On June 11th, there was an interview done where it was quoted that the mayor said, "We've made it clear there will be no more deviations." But those deviations continue, y'all. They're continuing every day. I would reference the apartments on Avenue H. That's not been on the agenda before, but it's been discussed between me and several council members, including on social media with Councilman Sonier. There's been a misstatement that says because it was once commercial, it's now a free-for-all. You guys don't know the rules. It's in Appendix A. It's specifically in Section 8 of Appendix A, but Appendix A is only 60 to 80 pages long, depending upon how you print it out. I'll print it for you. I'll read it to you. I'll highlight the necessary parts for you. But I'm begging you to read the rules and not take the words of others for what those rules are. For example, there is a rule that plans in the building code get approved, which means when the plans are submitted by the contractor, they are signed off by the building official, by the fire official, and by the city engineer. I have now pulled no less than 6 sets of plans. Nothing in our building department, in our inspections department, has a signature of approval on it. We're still deviating from the rules. You can't prove any of it's been approved or reviewed. And then when it doesn't comply with the rules, here we are. We're having long meetings going over the same type of deviations over and over again. I'm asking that you follow the rules because right is right and wrong is wrong. I appreciate the extra 13 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other citizen comments?
Good evening, Angela Finette, 1016 North 31st Street. Wanted to just bring to council attention on May 19th at that meeting, you signed a contract for additional smoke testing. There's been no updates in 2 months provided for at any council meeting regarding that testing. There's been no designation of what person is going to oversee that work. And smoke testing apparently was done today during the rain, which I was told that can't be done during the rain. So I'd like to ask the council again to please highlight this situation, because everything that you do tonight and approve affects this sewer system, affects me personally and my neighbors, and it affects my property value and affects your city. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Dowden, I'd like updates on the smoke testing and the ditch digging and whatever else we have going on at every council meeting, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Hearing none. Regular agenda, new business. A, discussion and possible action to approve a proclamation recognizing James White requested by Councilmember Sonier. Is the James White family here? Please step forward, sir.
Good to see a full house.
Thank you. I'm Jeff Darby. I'm the mayor. Councilman Sonier, I believe you know him. I have a proclamation to read for you. City of Nederland proclamation. Whereas James Jim White was born July 4th, 1925 in Port Arthur, grew up in Groves and attended what was then Port Neches High School. And whereas after graduation, he joined the United States Army the day after his 18th birthday and served our country in World War II. And whereas he was part of the liberation of France and conquest of Germany, during which he was wounded by a German hand grenade and received a Purple Heart Medal. And whereas After the war, he stayed in the United States Army Reserve, retiring at the rank of major. And whereas after returning home, he attended the Agricultural and Mechanical College of Texas, now known as Texas A&M University, and received a degree in mechanical engineering. And whereas after 30+ years of service, he retired from Texaco Island in Port Arthur, Texas. And whereas he and his wife Pauline raised 3 sons in Port Arthur and Nederland, living in Nederland for 50+ years. And whereas he stayed active in many civic organizations, including the VFW, the Masons, and spent 77 years in the Golden Triangle Aggie Club. And whereas he was proud of his military service, which included the awarding of La Légion d'honneur, the French Legion of Honor, the highest award of the French Republic, the Bronze Star Medal, the Purple Heart Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, and many others. And whereas he loved the people of the city of Nederland and brought them honor by a life well lived. And whereas he passed away a few months before what would have been his 100th birthday on America's Independence Day this month. Therefore, I, Jeffrey P. Jeff Darby, Mayor of the City of Nederland, do hereby declare Monday, July 14th, 2025 to be James Jim White Day in the City of Nederland. I call upon the people of Nederland to remember Jim for his service to our country, state, and community. A copy of this proclamation will be maintained in the records of the City of Nederland. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and seal of the City of Nederland, this the 14th day of July, 2025, signed Jeffrey P. Darby, Mayor, and attest Joni Underwood, City Clerk. Please step. And I'll let y'all say any words you want to from the podium there. Yes, and we're gonna after you're done speaking, we're gonna get a photo of y'all back here with us.
Okay,
So,
great.
but please go ahead and say anything you'd like to, sir.
My family would like to thank all of y'all, all the officials of Nederland and especially the citizens. He loved the city of Nederland, lived a good life. My family appreciates it from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.
Come on. Yeah. Let me say this. Anyone who was involved in the liberation of France or any of its territories, there aren't many of those folks left because that was happening 80 years ago. Liberation was finished May 8th, 1945. In other words, over 80 years ago now. But if any of them are still alive, they can contact the French Consulate General in Houston. And if you need help, holler at me because they are entitled to La Légion d'honneur, the Legion of Honor, the highest award that France can give anyone, military or civilian. And they will gladly send their consul general over here to Nederland or wherever they live. They have the stipulation is they still have to be living. So apparently y'all had that done a few years ago. So I'd encourage you, time is running out. And one of the few regrets I have in my life is not getting that done for my grandfather's younger brother. He died about 10 years ago. I would have loved to have helped my cousins get that for him. But Councilman Sonia, would you like to say anything since Mr. White was your neighbor?
Yeah, well, it's one, my plan was, and I talked to the previous city manager last year about trying to do this on his 100th birthday, which would have been July the 4th. Just didn't quite make it that long. I've been very fortunate to be the next door neighbor of Mr. White for over 30 years. My kids grew up spoiled to death by his wife because they come home from school from Hillcrest to milk and ice cream and everything else. So I couldn't keep up with that. But a great neighbor, an Aggie. I got to give him credit for that. I did always joke that the grenade hit him in the butt, but he never agreed with that. But a good man and served our country well, and just appreciate it. And thank you guys for being here today, Jerry. All right. That's it.
All right. Agenda item B, minutes from the June 23rd, 2025 regular meeting and the June 13th, 2025 special meeting. And we'll review those if you haven't already. Okay, I'd like any motion, let's do them separately, of course. Motion to approve the June 23rd, 2025 regular meeting.
So move.
Second. We have a motion and a second from Sonia and Jones in that order. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now the June 13th, 2025 special meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, again, moved by Sonia, seconded by Jones. Any discussion on the June 13th, 2025 special meeting? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. So, and approved. Appointments, C. Consider action appointing members to the infrastructure committee. Do we have any for that?
Yes, that one there. I nominate Mr. Robbie Smith.
You want to nominate Mr. Robbie Smith to the infrastructure committee.
Correct.
Since it's a ward specific one, he lives in your ward. It does not require a second. We will just vote on this one. All in favor of Robbie Smith for the infrastructure committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Smith is hereby a member of the infrastructure committee. Mr. Smith, you here? Should have asked him if he accepted nomination. All right. So he's on that. Consider action.
He's right there.
There he is. Do you accept nomination to the infrastructure committee? Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. After I called you then. So.
Number two, C2, consider action appointing members to the planning and zoning board. Do we have any for that one?
So we had talked about number for planning and zoning EDC. We wanted to clarify the award stuff. So I'll ask a table. It wouldn't change my nominations, but I want to make sure we have everything documented
Right.
the way and not
Let's
leave a loose end.
Cheryl, could we put on the next July 28th agenda something to where we and any council member, please have input to Ms. Dowden on how you want it worded, but how we are going to appoint people to these boards. Do they have to live in the ward for a council member to appoint them, or can the council member appoint them at large in the city? Did I summarize that, guys?
Some of the organizations have their own bylaws, so we got to make sure we don't go.
Yeah, I think for the EDC
Against
on
the
that one.
bylaws that already
And,
exist.
and,
in
it,
those
I want to
organizations.
make sure it's right because we have the thing and put in there how we're doing this, because we have it before. It was always just the councilman that live in a ward could nominate anybody in the city. We're putting that gap to have somebody in there. It's not in writing. It will not change my two nominees when we do this. So for those guys out there, I'm not going back on it. I just want to make sure it's all documented right there and we have it all agreed upon.
Okay, yes, sir.
So we word it such, we'll choose one of the two.
We just need to change our bylaw showing that a nominee to one of these positions would live in the ward that their councilman is nominating from.
Right. Do they have
And
to live in
it's
the
not a-
ward? Yeah,
yeah.
that the councilman nominates from.
Yeah.
That's a good.
We do have bylaws, and I'm just bringing this up so that we don't.
Yeah, yep.
Don't mess up. The bylaws in the EDC state that they can either live in the ward that you're in or within so many miles of the city of Needle. Right. Because some individuals that y'all have got on the list live in Port Arthur, but they're Needle School District.
Right.
They've worked in the community.
Yeah, we just
a
need to
ton.
just make sure they're aligned.
And so when you do that, then you say, hey, they got to be from the ward. Well, that kind of blows those potentially good
Yeah,
people
good.
that
Yeah.
really want to do good for our community
Right.
out of it. So
Okay.
Want to make sure, because we do
Review
have
that.
some council, some members on the EDC that do not live in the city of Nederland, but they
Right.
are heavily involved in.
Or have businesses in Nederland.
Yes, they have business.
have a business.
All right, we got that worded then for the next agenda or next meeting, I should say, the 28th.
Right.
Number 3, consider action appointing members to the Construction Board of Appeals.
Yeah, that's a Ward 3, and I have a Ward 3 resident, Mr. Emmett Hollier, to nominate there.
Mr. Emmett Hollier
Yes.
for the Construction Board of Appeals.
Yes, sir.
That, again, that doesn't require.
That's not by ward, I don't think. Is that at large for?
No, it's by Ward.
It's by word. It's his nomination right now.
Yeah. I believe that is the Construction Board of Appeals, I believe. Is, yes, that is, no, those are all at large.
No, sorry.
That's what I thought.
Zoning Board and Appeals.
Zoning Board, I
Yep,
misunderstood.
yep.
Zoning Board of Appeals, that is by ward. You are correct.
Right.
So Mr. Emmett Hollier. That one, that is your nomination.
Yes.
It does not require a second. We just vote on it then. Right.
3.
3. Mr. Hollier does live in Ward 3.
Right.
Any discussion, council? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Mr. Emmett Hollier is on the Construction Board of Appeals. And number 4, was that it on that one?
That was it on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number,
EDC is the same as number 2.
right, we're just gonna
Right.
hold
Till-
off
till
on
we get
that
that
one
straight.
until next
I see.
meeting. Right.
It won't change my nominee, but I want to get that straight before we do it.
All right, so we are done with letter C then. 4D, discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of 4 radio consulates for the Nederland Fire Department. Mrs. Dowden.
Yes, Mayor and Council. You have a copy of the authorization for purchase of the consulates. Fire Chief Terry Morton is here to answer any questions. This involves the central dispatch consulates. It was determined that during another item, the technician with Bearcom Radio had examined the equipment, determined there was a power surge and an electrical surge, most likely due to lightning hitting those units. A claim was filed with our Property Insurance Texas Municipal League. They did some investigation to determine that the electrical surge would have occurred in December.
On or about December 28th.
Yes, sir.
That's for the
true.
record, that was the date of that tornado nearly hitting Port Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so they confirmed that it was there. They decided to pay the claim of $47,829.31, which is the cost to repair or to replace those consulates, less the $250 deductible.
And I'll also note that they will also be used by the police and dispatch.
Yes, sir.
So it's not strictly the fire department. I just wanted to
Correct.
get that in the discussion so that everybody will be totally clear. Does
Yes,
anybody have Chief Morton, would you like to add anything? Oh, can you speak into that mic right there, please? Just turn it on.
We got some people online, I believe.
You can use that one since Councilman Ortiz isn't here. Just turn it on.
The reason we felt like it was a lightning strike was due to the fact that we lost 4 units at one time. You know, that'd be highly irregular to have 4 units just die at the same time. So
Point it up at you a little bit better, Chief. Point it up at you.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The fact that we lost 4 units at the same time and that the units actually had an odor of some burn up electronics and circuitry, we felt like it was a lightning strike. And we went back with some data from some of the weather services, and there was actually lightning occurring that day. The units are due to that due to the lightning strike, that they're not repairable. So we chose to file a claim through TML. They did approve it.
Any member of council have a
Just-
question? Oh,
I
go ahead.
got
Mr.
one
Yeah.
comment, just so everybody understands, it's not just the Nederland Fire and Nederland Police. It's Nederland, Port Neches, and Groves.
Yep.
That's shared equipment.
That is correct.
Right.
Central
Central
Dispatch
Dispatch,
covers
right.
all three cities, fire and police.
So
Right.
they're sharing the cost 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
The 250 would be 1/3, I would.
Oh,
presume.
yes.
Yes, the
It will be.
250 is, but the lion's share of it was covered by insurance.
Okay.
All right.
All right, any other questions, comments from council? Any citizen have a question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor of approving item 4D, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 4E. You can turn that off, Randy, please. Thank you, sir. Discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 2025-10, amending the Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 102, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 2, General Traffic Regulations, Division 7, Operation of Vehicles, to establish a school safety zone. Mrs. Dowden.
Mayor and council, you have in front of you a copy of ordinance 2025-10, proposing the amendment of the Code of Ordinances. This ordinance was considered due to the roadway in front of Central Middle School. It is a high traffic area during drop off and pickup times at the school, and the school district, Nederland ISD, discourages individuals from being dropped off and picked up in front of the school because of traffic congestion. So they have designated a drop off point on the north side of the school near their tennis courts. In addition, many students walk to and from school from various directions and must cross directly in the roadway, in front of the roadway, in front of the school at various points. The location requires additional safety measures that's necessary more than just a crossing guard would provide due to the various directions and additional traveling to and from school. Additional safety measures will require amending Chapter 102, Traffic in Vehicles, Article 2, General Traffic Regulations, Division 7, Operation of Vehicles, by adding Section 102-144, motor vehicles provided on a portion
Prohibited.
prohibited on a portion of North 17th Street on school days from a half an hour before school starts until 1/2 an hour after school ends for Central Middle School. The school safety zone will be located from the 200 block to the 300 block of North 17th Street at the designated times. No students or other individuals shall be dropped off or picked up in the school safety zone pursuant to Section 12.02 of the city charter of the city of Nederland. The ordinance may be published at least twice in the official newspaper of the city and shall take effect from and after its passage by city council and publication. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, motion. We have a motion from council member Duplant,
Second.
second by council member Jones. Any questions or comments, council?
Makes sense.
Any questions or comments from citizens? And I note that Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz has joined the meeting. If you have anything to say, come to the podium, please. Yes, ma'am. State your name and address, please.
I'm Naisha Gibbons. I said 703 Boston. Thank you for putting that on a program for today. My son was hit in the front desk school on February 12th. So that's why I've been working with the police and the detective there to get it on the council to get. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So question for you, is your son okay? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the 2 and 300 block, that's the intersection essentially of
basically, yeah.
Boston
Kind
and,
of takes the T out of it right there.
right, okay, yeah,
Stops the flow.
yeah, okay.
And it looks like that we have to publish it twice in the official newspaper and it'll take effect after its passage by the city council and publication. So we need to vote now so that it can be published at least twice, it appears. Is that
Yes, sir.
that's what I'm, okay.
Yes, and that'll have it ready for next school season.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the ordinance, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have, well, let's see.
said
There's-
aye.
Oh, you said aye, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The ayes have it. There's not as much of a delay as I thought there would be with this. Okay, the ayes have it then. Letter E is approved. Let's see, agenda item 4, excuse me, F. Discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 2025-11, amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Mrs. Stoughton.
Mayor and council, you have a copy of ordinance 2025 amending the fiscal year budget, which was approved on September the 9th of 2024 by ordinance 2024-18. There are insufficient budgeted items appropriated for finance, auditing, and accounting line item due to approval at the June 23rd council meeting of a forensic audit at a proposed cost of $48,000 to $78,000. The ordinance I've included $78,000 because of the unknown amount that it will cost the city. Additionally, an amendment is needed to purchase a police pursuit vehicle equipped with in-car camera system, radio lights, and computer for automated dispatching for the police chief. I recommend approval of this item. The amount for that vehicle is $70,000.
First, do I have a motion? To
Make a motion.
have a second? Okay. Motion by Jones, second by Duplant. Any discussion, council? No. No? Any question or comments by the audience? Any citizen? Hearing none. All in favor of item F, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Letter G. Okay, it sounds like there's going to be a public hearing. So what I have to do is put the city council meeting on hold and call a public hearing to order. So that is done at 6:33, it appears to be. So we're putting the city council meeting on hold and then calling a public meeting to order to be held to receive comments and discuss amending the city's zoning ordinance text to include a new land use, event centers, to table 13.2 schedule of permitted uses with the appropriate parking group. The public hearing will allow interested parties an opportunity to voice their concerns, questions, comments, etc. Okay, so we have a public hearing now. I'd like anybody to come. Mr. Wheeler, you got something for this agenda item G? Go ahead, sir.
Well, I think I should read the draft planning and zoning minutes.
Okay.
For the zoning amendment, the minutes read as follows. Mr. Wheeler explained that the zoning amendment is to place the event centers in the appropriate zoning districts and to give the use a parking group number. It was felt by the commission that placing the use event centers in C2, C3, light industrial, and medium industrial would be the most appropriate. Also, at their lengthy discussion, it was felt that the parking group number 3 should be the corresponding parking group, which is one space for each 300 square feet of net building floor area. After a full discussion, a motion was made by Dylan Fairley and seconded by Alex Rump to recommend to the city council to approve the zoning amendment to place the use event centers as a permitted use in districts C2, C3, C2 neighborhood retail, C3 highway retail, light industrial, medium industrial, to include the parking group number 3. All voted in favor of the motion.
Right. I am not finding any documentation we had in our.
It's right after the funding amount.
think it's page
It's
30,
directly up.
37. Is that,
See what it is on the pad here. What is it? It's this one.
yeah, 37
Thank you.
of 73.
I got it.
And yeah, Mr. Wheeler just read the
Yeah,
four.
right, right.
What was the purpose of this, Mr. Wheeler?
I had an inquiry on a possible event center being built in a C2 zoning district. So I looked in our zoning permitted use chart and I didn't see the use of event centers anywhere. I didn't see it in C2, C3, or any of the industrial districts. And I didn't see anything in C2 that was similar, or C3 that was similar to an event center. Like if I would have saw something that was similar to an event center that was in C3, well, I could interpret it as meaning it's not allowed in C2. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't see anything to interpret whether it is an allowed use in a district or not allowed. So therefore, being that it is a unlisted land use, this is the procedure we have to go through to recognize that land use and put it in the appropriate zoning districts.
So, go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Wheeler, what is the definition of an event center? I see we're adding the amended zone by adding new land event centers to the table, but what does the city have a definition of what an event center actually is?
You know, I looked it up in the dictionary, but I don't have it with me. I apologize.
Okay.
Any other member of council have a question?
So I believe this was brought up originally because the EDC was looking to utilize some property that they have that is in a C2 area, which is on Boston Avenue, across from the old bank, to potentially build a event center similar to something like the event center in Beaumont, but on a smaller scale for our community. You know, we were talking about this room getting smaller. We could utilize that for council meetings if we needed to. But you know, something in the 200 to 300 range persons attending, and then it gives you enough room for parking in the area to do something like that.
How large do you know, Councilman Duplant, how large that proposed event center would be?
It's only in the discussion phase, but it wouldn't be gigantic. I mean, it would be something that could be built in that same property and still have parking available between it and potential overflow on Boston Avenue where we have parking already.
Because the one space for each 300 square feet of net building floor space, Mr. Wheeler, what's the parking requirements for some of the other, some of these C2, C3 and so forth?
Well, a restaurant is 1 every 200 square feet of net dining area. Restaurant, a bar or lounge.
That's 200, you said, okay.
200, yeah.
And what was the rationale for being 300 here instead of 200, like for what items you just named?
Well, what was discussed is, you know, when you look at event centers, they're only used every so often, you know, on a weekend or something like that. And the rest of the time, these large parking lots are just left vacant. And they felt like they didn't want to, you know, put too many required parking spaces where you have the huge parking lot that sits there vacant most of the time. That was the rationale.
Mr. Watchus, you want to come to the podium? You're the chair of that meeting, so you may have something to add. I want you to have it on the record, what y'all decided is
We
important.
also have additional parking in the area. It's like the Nederland Heritage Festival, we have parking all over for that. We have a lot of different extra parking in the area where the proposed event center would go downtown, the original. I think they're also thinking about some other areas that they might eventually want to put something similar to this in. So we've got to cover those areas too while we're doing the one that they're looking at right now.
Okay. Any other council member or any member of the public have a question or a comment? This is a public hearing after
Yeah,
all.
I'd like to hear from some of the citizens on this one for sure. So.
Come forward, please.
Angela Finette, 1016 North 31st Street. I'm gonna touch all your things. Just want to make mention, okay? I don't have a feeling one way or the other, but in the Code of Ordinances, Section 1, the code says the purpose of zoning codes. Zoning map and zoning regulations are established and adopted in accordance with the comprehensive master plan for the purpose of promoting health, safety, general welfare of the city. The regulations of zoning ordinance have been designed to lessen congestion in streets, to secure safety from fire, panic, and other dangers, to provide adequate light and air, to prevent the overcrowding of land, to avoid undue concentration of population, and to facilitate the adequate provisions of transportation, water, sewerage, schools, parks, and other public requirements. It's also to promote the character of areas, limit the uses of areas that are particularly suitable for particular use. I would call that to mind as you make changes to ordinances moving forward, what resources you have and what resources need to be repaired before we start adding more things. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public or council? Come forward and just state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Kristen Robinson. I live at 1311 Luling Avenue. So in regards to the zoning proposal for the adding a new land use event centers to the table, I think looking ahead as we're considering this, we do need to consider the benefits of what an event center would add to our city. As Councilmember Duplant added, it would provide a space for things like these council meetings. I mean, we're overflowing into a lobby now. I know lots of individuals in this room, companies, organizations, we don't have a space in Nederland to host these, luncheons, events. I just got married 2 months ago. There was not a place in Nederland for me to host a reception. So I think looking ahead, you have to think big picture. Even when you're considering this zoning amendment to change the name and add it, you have to think of the economic benefit that an event center could add to Nederland, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This zoning amendment is not to approve any particular event center. It would only be for parking at what level of parking is needed at an event center. Just want everybody to be clear on
to allow it in those zones.
And to allow it in those zones. Correct. You're correct, Mr. Duplant.
Hi, my name is Jana Bartz, 2411 Avenue F. I also own a business on Boston Avenue currently. The schedule for permitted uses table, if you haven't looked at it, I would say look at it. It is very outdated. There's a lot of things that aren't on there. Like shoe repair is on there, but I think Minaldi's closed quite a while back. So that is pretty outdated. You may be getting a lot more people trying to add things to that. I own the Golden Cup on Boston Avenue currently. I get people asking me all the time about event rental. That is not something that I necessarily first intended to do when opening a coffee shop, especially in my location right now. I am moving to Nederland Avenue in a couple of months, but I get people asking me about small event rental very often, and I usually refer them outside of Nederland. There's no places really in Nederland that I can refer them to. And it is something that I have an interest in the future. like 2 to 5 years from now. And I think it would be good for businesses like mine and the food industry specifically to be able to do, catering opportunities for, these events that could come. That would be really beneficial, I feel, to a lot of businesses. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind when considering the economic advantages of small event spaces in Nederland, no matter where they are.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jackie Toops at 613 North 14th. I am for the event centers and everything, but my problem that I'm seeing is if you don't have the parking correctly for there, it is going to override into the streets and everything else. And that is going to interfere at times, especially if an event is going on late at night. Because I know people walk on my street all the time. Children walk, kids walk, they ride their bikes, they do all kinds of things. I have a problem with it, of it getting too out of hand. We've got to be careful with that. We've got to be careful with not interfering with the parking for the businesses downtown and not with the post office. You can't even get into the post office during the Heritage Festival at all. It is ridiculous. You might as well forget it. I ride a golf cart down there and get as close as I can if I have to go to the post office. So to me, we need to just be careful before we jump in to something, before we've even gotten, I hate to say, the city straightened out with the new regime. We need to be careful what we're doing, because we can get ourselves to where we're going to need more and more and more expenses of city expenses of hiring more police officers, more securities, more everything else for here. And we need to be careful at what we're doing because of our budget. We've got to, we're just now getting into where y'all are doing an audit to see what's being done. And to me, we just need to be very careful with it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen?
Yes, sir. There are several.
You're still
issues-
Jolie Shipley,
I'm
by
sorry.
the way.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Yeah,
still
you're
Jolie
okay.
Shipley, and I still live at 8765 Holmes Road, as far as I know. Okay, the first issue I have echoes what Mr. Jones said. Are we talking about building Kyle Field or a baby shower venue? If you don't know what you're defining this as, how could you say it's a good thing or a bad thing? In C2, I'm gonna break this down. If you want to build it in industrial 3, that's on Highway 69, go for it. But if you're building it on Helena Avenue in the 2200 block, that's a different ball game, guys. So it sounds like you need to go back and first define it. If you want to define a small event center up to 150 people, to put that in C2, and a event center between 200 and 400 people and put that in a C3, you got to look at the zoning map. And like Ms. Finette said, the master plan of the community. You can't have Kyle Field on Avenue H with next door to the apartments by Mr. Sawyer. It just won't work. So that's my first issue, is you didn't define it. If you are familiar with the code, section 30 is your definitions. And if you look at table 13.2, as she identified it, table 13.2 has got the little chart. It has what you're supposed to be building and whether it's permitted in a R1234 and whether it's permitted in a C123 and an I123. If there's not a P, can't do it. Doesn't happen. It means no. And so if you're going to just put the word event center and put it in 2 and not define it, you're inviting Kyle Field into the middle of Allen Meadows. I think that's problematic. First and foremost, you've got to be able to define it. The next problem that you have is the parking. So net square footage, and I'm sure Mr. Wheeler can explain this to you, is net square footage is 15 square feet per person for banquet style. That's governed by IFC 2012. That's what you all adopted, or your predecessors, that governs that. IFC 2012 says 15 square feet per person. So if you have a 6,000 square foot building that would have a capacity of 400 people, under their proposal, you will have 20 parking spots. Do the math. I'll do it for you. 20 spots. That's ridiculous. You cannot put one parking spot for every 300 square feet. That's one parking spot for every 20 people. That is ridiculous. When you have, now, maybe it would work on Boston because we would just take up all the other businesses' parking spots and then no one could get a cup of coffee at Jana's place, or no one could get into Zandy Zoo's or Touch of Cajun and patronize those businesses. So you're robbing from the existing businesses to create new. I think that's problematic. But if you do this over on Avenue H and you're not limiting yourself to where you're doing it, now you're congesting the neighborhoods to the point a fire truck can't get through. Because if you take 400 people that show up at a wedding reception in a 6,000 square foot people, you may have 150, 200 cars, 20 of them fit in the lot. The others are in the neighborhoods and the side streets. C2 is very small commercial. It's not Needleland Avenue. It's Avenue H, it's Helena Avenue, and it's some of the Boston Avenue. Those are all C2s. Look at the color-coded map and what you're proposing to do. So I think until that committee and their minutes do not, I'll say this too. When you talk about the Planning and Zoning Committee, their agendas are not all posted online. Their minutes are not all posted online. Their agendas don't match their minutes. What they put in their minutes didn't match their agendas. Very problematic, and none of it is saved the same way. But as you notice in the minutes that were approved, there is no discussion of the definition of what an event center is. I would propose that we get event centers, but we do a baby shower event center for 100 people in a different area that we would do an event center for 500 people. And if you have 100 people coming to a baby shower, you got to have at least 40 parking spots. You can't do it with 10. It's not going to work, and it's not fair to the existing neighbors. So I would ask that you table this and you get a more clear definition from the committee, and then specifics for each zone, how big of it, because you can't build Kyle Field in a C2. Also, contrary to the belief of many that have spoken, there is a building on Boston Avenue. I know it is the blue building, but a building on Boston that does do small events. It's a little further down towards Touch of Cajun. There's also James Hall, and both of those are supported by existing small businesses. Our city should not compete with our private business owners. And so I'm all for a big one, but this is kind of slapstick feeling, and it needs to be fleshed out in my opinion.
Yeah, for the record, the Lux at 1123 Boston. I was there on Saturday for a baby shower, so.
So was I the week before. For mine.
It's my grandchild, your child, I think, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can say I wasn't there.
Yeah. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Same person. One more thing to add.
Yes, Ms. Finette.
Section 3 also says, and I'm going to be honest, I'd love to see this. Section 3, consistency with the comprehensive master plan. These regulations are intended to implement the city's official comprehensive master plan, as such may be amended from time to time. A copy of the plan shall be kept in the office of the city secretary, and it shall be available for public inspection during regular business hours.
Proceed.
We need to follow the plan. Like, we need the plan. What do we want to see the city be in 10 years, 15 years, not just 2 years? What's the plan? What's the master plan for the city? And then let's build around that and fix our infrastructure so that we can support whatever we determine to do moving forward.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Come ahead.
Renee O'Connor, 1131 Gary Avenue. She mentioned 2 other places that you can have a baby shower. What are they identified as? Are they identified as an event center? Are they identified as? Why are we changing a code simply because someone wants to put something somewhere where it's not already allowed? It doesn't.
They already exist, right?
Excuse me?
Those places already exist.
Well, evidently places already exist. So why do we need to change a code because someone wants to put a building in that particular spot that may not even be ideal for that particular spot? Why can't we live with the codes that we already have?
That would mean we'd have to shut down some businesses.
So are we changing this code for the simple reason that someone wants to put a building in a certain address?
I mean, that's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
so we're gonna change the code because somebody wants to put a building in a certain
There
address.
was a building
The city
there.
Doesn't.
There
get
was
to
a
vote
building
on it.
there.
It was a bank.
It was a bank, it was a drive-through bank.
Okay, was it
But
coded?
did it utilize, did we not utilize, I'm sorry, I'm probably not even supposed to be talking. I'm not following rules, but did we or did we not have, I don't know, car shows on that bank? Did we have chili cook-offs on that bank? We had tons of stuff at that bank that.
It was
had
none of
many,
that
many people.
allowed.
It was allowed.
Is it not supposed to be allowed?
Well, I mean, it was an event.
Okay, evidently the bank was allowed to be built there because the codes and the ordinances were in place that said a bank could be built there.
Right.
Okay, so that's why a bank was there.
But we don't have event centers anywhere in our code.
So we're going to change the code
No, we're adding event centers to the code. We don't have
for the
event centers
specific
in the
reason
code.
that somebody can put an event center at that address.
Well, we couldn't do it because we don't have the ability to do it right now. We need to make it correct to be able to do it. Or we'll just build an event center. How are we going to get it permitted? Yeah,
That's a question a lot of people would ask about a lot of things. How did it get permitted? I'm done. Thank you for your time.
It's, come on.
I understand that some of you want it to go ahead and be put and done now and not looking at the big picture like Angela and other ones have talked about. And that's the reason the city got in the way it is, because nobody followed what they were supposed to do. And it's been going on for decades. I have lived here for decades and I have watched it time and time again. People would do what they want to do. Just like Jolie said, there's not even signatures on some things that have been built and done. And if we continue to jump in and do, because one person or a group of people want to build, a small group of people want to build an event center over here where the bank used to be, then to me, that is not listening to the whole city. And that's been the problem for years with Needle, is they don't listen. They listen to a few, but they don't listen to the majority. And the majority got voted in this time. They voted in and they voted in who we want.
voted for me last time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Well,
And you
that's an inappropriate question.
Yeah. Oh, it was? Yeah. Sort of like the new regime. Yeah. Thank you.
I think we need to just stay on the topic.
do like this. It doesn't. I'm not trying to pick on
I'm not,
anybody.
hey, I'm just saying, I'll just say this, okay? We're doing things to help the community. You may not agree with it always.
That's what's wrong with the community right now before
But
you
the
start
ED
bringing in other things to fix.
You're talking about two different organizations. The EDC is helping develop.
Some problems too. And it has been.
Mhm.
It has been. I'm not the only one that thinks that. Thank you. I'm not the only one that thinks that. My husband's family goes back to 1910 here. There is a lot of investment here with the Langham family. And I don't want to see what's happening to Needle continue. Because if we keep continuing and not planning and fixing what we have now, we are going to be worse in 3 and 4 years than when they came in.
I am not trying to ruin Needle.
Oh, I know.
Last,
Not even the last 10 years.
let's go back last year when we approved the stuff to start working on the utilities, okay? Yeah, and it didn't go perfect. It hasn't been wonderful. Not everything gets done like we want it to when we want it to, but we have been working towards fixing the drainage. I sat with Miss Finette for 3 hours one night discussing the fact that she couldn't flush your toilets when it rained.
Should it?
And whenever it came up, I brought it up and I said, let's get the money to make it happen. Let's get the money, pull the money out of reserves and start working on this. That's not
fine.
like we weren't doing stuff before.
Money out of reserves on things that we
We
have
don't
not
pull-
been doing.
We haven't been
that's been-
pulling money out of reserves for years. That was the problem.
But as far as an event center, I am not against it, but I am for getting the city where it needs to be first, both financially and everything else. And right now, just like I said, you are doing an audit, a physical audit. First time I think it's been done, and I don't know when, because all the years I've lived here, I haven't heard of one. So to me, get things done and let's get on an even playing field where we know where you are. The citizens know where y'all are standing. We all know what is there to be used. Don't start jumping in and doing some more before we even know.
But you have different organizations that do different things.
But if it, whether they.
You can't,
do
do you just
different
shut down
things-
the ADC because it's,
Think about that.
no, I mean, does the ADC just have to stop operating?
No, but maybe it needs to consider what is being done. Whether it is a actual thing that should be done right now. The master plan would be great. That would be great to do. But a master plan is looking ahead. It's not looking 6 months from now, 1 year from now. It's
I agree
looking
with
way
you.
ahead.
I agree with you. I do
And
not
as far
disagree.
as things to place the whole thing, I don't even think anybody knows here in Nederland, except maybe the ones that are in the lodge. But the Masonic Lodge in Nederland rents their lodge out. They do. For events such as baby showers or things such as that. They rent it out. It's not highly publicized, but they do it. It's been done several times. And everything. So there are places for small events. Let's stop projecting so much on this. And I'm for, like they said, let's table this for a little while and let's get a bigger picture of what's going on within the city.
Thank you, Ms. Toops. I just don't want to forget about the mayor pro tem. Do you have anything, Jeff?
Hey, thank you, Mayor Darby. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I want to mention that I hear the citizens and what they're saying, and I'm in favor of changing adding event centers to the ordinance. I didn't see where the current plans for the EDC were on the agenda, but it has come up. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that, I may be in favor of the changing the verbiage in the text or adding text event centers to the ordinance. At this time, I need more information about an event center in Nederland, such as, its plans, its return on investment, the economic impact to our city, to our neighbors, who actually have event centers. So my vote tonight would be in favor of adding event centers if that comes to the table. But it's not supporting right now an event center. It's just adding the word event centers to our zoning ordinances. There's a lot of things that we have to do as a council, especially for me since I'm new, to understand the master plan that's been addressed, and B, the plans on this event center. What exactly is the plans for the future of this? Is it adding a council chambers? Is it what exactly are we doing? So although I am in favor of adding event centers to the zoning ordinance, I like to hold off on this discussion about any event center until we know exactly what's going on. And also, I'd like to look at other opportunities as well in regards to this. So thank you for allowing me to speak, Mayor. I'll turn it back to you.
And I'll speak to Jeff too. Jeff, I appreciate what you just said. I really do appreciate exactly what you said. There is nothing on the table being brought before the council for this. And before anything goes forward, as you know, being a former councilman yourself, prior to being on the council now, it has to be approved by the council. So whatever goes forward will be approved by the council or not approved by the council, and we will make sure that it's right. This was just a formality to even get close to. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me say something before you speak, Ms. Shipley. My own, I guess, I've been listening a lot, been listening intently. What is the definition of an event center? I would like that to be defined. I just, a key thing in enforcing regulations is to have the definitions in front of you. So I'd like to have a definition for event center. As far as the parking, I believe that one space for every 300 square feet of net building floor space, that number is too high. It probably needs to be lower, but at the same time, I'd like everyone to realize, if they don't already, that there is no event center here in front of us for us to even discuss tonight. This is just adding the term event center to and have it as permittable in those three zoning categories, C2, C3, and it says I light and I medium. Is that I1 and I2?
Industrial.
Light industrial, right. But it's called I light and I medium in the okay, yeah.
It's I1 and I2 in your code.
Okay. So I believe the parking number is too high. I don't know if one space for every 200 square feet. I just don't know, because we have absolutely no plans in front of us to look at. And I know that the EDC is talking about building an event center there in what was the drive-through bank across from the old Nederland State Bank. That's what I grew up calling it. But whether the EDC should be building stuff like that, again, that's not before us tonight. So I'm concerned myself about the lack of a definition as to what's an event center, and as I said, the parking. And now I recognize Ms. Shipley.
Jolie Shipley, still on 8765 Holmes Road. One of the misstatements made, and I want to make sure we're all talking apples to apples and oranges to oranges, is that once you add event center to the chart for a C2, C3, I1, or I2, you don't get a say in whether or not it's permitted. If I turn in an application for Kyle Field in a C2, if you haven't defined it, it's permitted by him, period. You don't hear about it. There's no notices to the neighbors. There's no public hearings, because you all said it's okay to do it blanketly in a C2. You put a P in the box. If you put a P in the box, you're losing all control to approve. Now, you may have some issues with the EDC because it's a governmental entity, but you lose all control to then deny the permit on Helena or on Avenue H or on 27th Street across from C.O. Wilson. You lose the authority to do that. Once you say it's permitted, then period, it's done, it's permitted in that zone. So to say that, Mr. Duplant, that, well, it's not before us and we'll take it up when it gets here and we would decide that then, you lose that.
Good.
And so I think that would be something that you all might want to make it an S.
Thank you.
An
Thank you.
S would be a specific use permit where you would control that.
Good. Thank you.
But not.
Yes, sir, Mr. Albanese.
I keep hearing we don't have an event center in the city of Nederland. We got an event center right in the middle of Nederland that accommodate about 300 people. It's called the Knights of Columbus Hall. Now, it's a 50-year-old building. It's got asbestos roof, asbestos flooring, and it's old. And a young lady nowadays getting married, they want to be in a nicer place, and I don't blame them. But I keep hearing this, we don't have a place. We do have a place here in Nederland, and it is called an event center. They have birthdays, graduations, weddings, what have you.
How many cars can fit in that parking lot, Mayor?
Maybe you know that. We accommodate 300 people. I don't know exactly how many cars.
One
But
car,
that's one of
one
it.
car for every two people.
Right.
Susan Tony, 504 Carriage Lane. Well, I was listening to everybody and maybe the terminology is what the hiccup is. So I Googled event center. And the definition means a publicly or privately owned structure of more than 50,000 square feet or 1,000 seats that is used for public performances, sporting events, business meetings, or similar events, and includes concert halls, stadiums, sports arenas, racetracks, coliseums, and so forth. I mean, this is on a grand scale, but maybe that's just the terminology that's being used, event center. Maybe it should be referred to as something else.
Thank you. That's some of the trouble I'm having because there's no definition. Mr. Herrera?
Ray Herrera, 1140 Chicago. Like they said, there's several places to have things. James Hall, you got the KC Hall, you got American Legion, that's right here on Leland Avenue. You got the Eagles right down the street. And in Port Neches, you got the UAW Hall. Basically, how big can you actually put there? Because if you look at all these halls that we have that are available for everything, if you're not going to build something bigger, and if you're going to put something about, let's say the smallest is 100 feet, the largest is 300 feet, you're going to build a 200 square foot building, you're not going to get your bang for your buck. Everybody has valid reasons. You probably just need to look back. What's the biggest we can really put there? Because if it's only going to be the size of these other local places, let's use that for something else to make more money at. It can be used for maybe something better than just a hall. But there's plenty of places, wedding showers, and also if you become a member of some of these places, you get the place cheap. I used to do a lot of benefits for women and children, animal shelters, and we got the halls really cheap for what we were doing, if not free. So you might want to step back and let's take a look at all what we have out there between all the halls that have been brought up, see what the biggest one is, what the smallest. If you can't build anything bigger, why? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any other citizen? I have, and then Keith, you'll be after her.
Sorry, Keith. Hi, Patty Jones, 1011 Mimosa here in England. I think we've all forgot about our churches. Our churches have lots of room, so don't forget the churches.
Thank you. Mr. Bass, come forward.
Keith Bass, 2415 Avenue E. Couple people said master plan. What's the city's master plan? And when was it last updated? And when's the last time current council has seen it?
I've not seen it, just for the record.
So we go to start building these master plans. We can build an event center. We don't have to build an event center. It's going to affect me. It's not going to affect me. We can go back and forth and do all this and say that. It could be an event center. It could be a venue. Semantics on the wording, the verbiage of it. If you do approve it, like it was stated earlier, and you put that P in the box, then if I have some other land on Avenue H that I want to go build an event center and I want to have a concert and I want to park all the way up and down Avenue H, like we do for 4th of July, who's going to stop it? Don't need parking spots. You just park right on the side of the road. Start parking on the side of 23rd, 25th, 27th, block everything up. We've already had discussions with Mr. Sonia about having racers coming down 23rd and 25th and 21st, trying to get some more stop signs put in. We had to block off 23rd and 25th on Avenue H for 4th of July for safety. These event centers that want to get built, I don't care if it's by the EDC, I don't care if it's from a church, a school, if it's Mr. Jones. What is the purpose of these event centers? Are we going to have concerts? Is it just for conferences? Is it just for meetings? Is it for baby showers? Because like everyone else has said, you have the KC Hall, Masonic Lodge, Eagles Lounge, any church. People go to Judice's, people go to, not Sanderson's,
Sombreros.
Sombrero.
Oh, that's way
So
back.
all these places have areas to hold the amount of people that we have. I know having an event center or venue or whatever we're going to call it, if it gets approved, is going to bring in more money, more taxes and everything for the city. That's fine and dandy. But what are we going to do with it? It was said earlier by Mr. Wheeler, parking lot just sits there. We already have a parking lot that sits there that can't be used from another entity in Nederland. It's just a complete waste except for one time a year. So we just keep building all these things to add, to attract more people to Nederland. What are we having these for? Are we going to move City Hall to this event center so we can have more seating for the citizens? Or we're just going to keep having it here? There's a lot that has to be discussed. And if you don't have a master plan like everyone's asked for, we're trying to do quick fixes, trying to appease everybody and do patch jobs. I don't want that. I want that transparency everybody keeps talking about. We're letting a lot of things get built. I had to come over here years ago whenever we wanted to have a tattoo shop built for Colbeck because it was in a light commercial residential area. And we had to jump through hoops. City council, planning and zoning, city council, planning and zoning, public hearing, city council, just to get it approved to have a tattoo shop that's next door to Down to Earth, across from a dance studio, next to whenever Keith L. Hussey was still here, next to his shop. It seems that we're kind of being biased and picking and choosing, still rubbing elbows with people. And that's just me speaking. I ain't speaking for anybody else, because whenever somebody brings something to someone's attention, I'll look at it, I'll check it out, I'll see what we can do. And then months go by, still nothing. We have to keep refreshing people's memories of, hey, we discussed this. Everybody wants a call log, email log. Everybody wants signatures, names being spoken. And it's not being handled by the government entity of Nederland for the citizens. I can come in here and say, hey, I want to go build this over here. I might get it, I might not. If we just start allowing stuff to be built in certain neighborhoods, it's happening in Sour Lake. I don't know if y'all are familiar with what's going on out there. Their highways divided like 365. One side's commercial, one side's residential. The gentleman out there got approved to have a farmer's market. Now he wants to add it into a cafe, but they denied it. Well, he pulled up his permit for the city sign for a commercial metal building we put on his property. Now they don't want to give him his cafe because they made a mistake. Because they went on ahead and said, oh, you can go ahead and do this. But then whenever he said, okay, well, now that I'm permitted for that, I want to build this. Well, you're not zoned for that. The permit says I am. So that's where all the backlash is coming from. As Ms. Shipley said earlier, I get a lot of phone calls and texts too from people because they don't want to get up here and be seen as argumentative. It doesn't bother me. I'll argue all day. I will speak up for anybody here, anybody on the live feed, because they may not have that fortitude to come up and look at you in the eyes and say, hey, this is what I feel, this is what I believe, and this is what is affecting me. This is off topic. These ditches are still holding water. And we're going to build event centers. I don't understand it. We had supervisors step down. We need to get that filled. I think that we need to look at fixing the current situation of Nederland financially and physically before we start expanding. And this isn't a knock on the EDC or any public or private entity that wants to do this. If there's an issue, you have to address it and get it fixed before you go on to the next one. That's how I was always taught. You can't just skip this one and go from point A to point Z. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other citizen?
Mr. Councilman Ortiz has been asked to be recognized.
Okay, sorry.
He had his hand up for a few minutes.
Councilman Ortiz, sorry. Mayor Pro Tem, please proceed.
Hey, thank you. Is Mr. Wheeler still there?
Yes, he is.
Hey, Mr. Wheeler.
He's coming to the podium right now, Jeff.
Thank you.
He's at the podium.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Wheeler,
since this discussion has been heavily on the potential event center on Boston, so do you know what that property is owned currently?
C2, neighborhood retail.
Okay. So this, just want to make something clear real quick and make sure I'm understanding. It's already zoned C2, that property. So is there any other companies coming into the city that's wanting to build an additional event center? I'm just trying to figure out why we're allowing C2, C3, IL, and IM. What was the discussion with the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding adding those as well?
Well, you know, there was C2, which is Needland Avenue, Boston Avenue. And they felt like, you know, on a smaller scale, I guess, I just presented it to them. And I have my background where I presented it to them. Do you want to put event centers in C2, C3, I1, I2? Do you want to have a specific use for event centers in C2, C3, or we know which district by right, or which district, you know, with a specific use, and that's what we came up with.
Okay, I appreciate it because I do share the sentiment of the others. You know, I'd hate for an event center to be built in, you know, near some homes, and I do understand what everyone is saying, but I also understand that we can do economic development and fix the city at one time. So I hear everybody, and I'm willing to listen and understand. But what I'm not willing to do is make a drastic decision when I don't have all the information. George, thank you for explaining that. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other citizen or council? Yep, come ahead. It's the queer.
Team Boston Avenue, Kate Queer. One of the reasons why we're here is we've been talking about whether you want to call it a convention center, event center, venue, or whatever. The term that will be, someone else will decide what the term is. But basically, it's to host trade shows for the refineries in the area, wedding venues, class reunions, 300 people at least, because we're losing everything to the Pompano, to Compro, the event center in Beaumont, and it's losing business for our current restaurants that can cater these events, that would bring more business to them. If you're here in the evening, and most events would be taking place during the evening hours anyway, but we saved all the parking at 1311 to utilize that as parking. There's additional grass area that could be taken out for additional parking. But the reason why you don't have a plan in front of you is because we haven't spent any more dollars. We stopped until we knew where the zoning would be approved and there was an ordinance in place. Since there's never been an ordinance with the terminology, we can't go forward with anything. So that's why we still have fencing around it, now grass to grow inside of it, which I don't like. I'll probably spray Roundup in it. But, you know, we're not going to spend any money on architectural drawings or anything. We're not moving forward with any of it. So I can't give you anything to approve and look at till we know that there will ever be an ordinance or that it will remain C2 zoning. And so we're here. We want to grow the community and keep the business in the community instead of having, even some of our businesses have had to cater some of their events at the Pompano. The chamber hosts their things at Broussard's or at the Pompano. You know, it's our day and time to get that revenue from other cities instead of us spending it outside of the perimeter of the city of Nederland. That's just my opinion. The board will make the decision, but it doesn't matter what you call it. But you do need to think out of the box. We're either going to become stagnant, like cities around us, or we're going to be progressive. And we're going to be like what other people in other countries say that we are. And we are like one of the premier areas right now. We're growing. We're not closing businesses. Our small businesses are not closing, thank the Lord. But in around us, they are, and they're not getting the support that they need. But we do not have the nice place that you would want to entertain a large group of people flying in for a company meeting, or and these happen every day. Every day they meet off site of the refineries and places like that. And I think once it would come to fruition, it would be booked a year out. So again, tonight we're just asking, can it be zoned? Can we get an ordinance? Because I think it was Jana that said it. Some of these things haven't been updated since the 50s and prior to that. And we need to get the zoning all updated so we can move forward to make our city grow, whatever area it needs to grow. So I don't have anything to give you because we've not spent a single penny on architectural drawings because we're not going to waste those dollars. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay.
Why is this item on the agenda? If we're just going to talk about verbiage for event centers, wouldn't we do an overhaul of what the definitions need to be? There's probably other definitions looming. So why was this item brought to the agenda? And if it was brought to the agenda in order for an EDC project because they were at a standstill, then maybe that should have been the agenda item. Secondly, a lot of people have to spend money on plans before they get to put their business up. It's part of it. So, I think people have a right to know what's going to be going on if it's public money. And the last thing that I'm going to say is once again, we need to look at a master plan or none of this can be successful. I'm all for moving forward, but people need to be able to utilize their property as a residence, their small businesses that are existing. And I can tell you, if I'm having issues with sewer, there's a small business out there that is having issues too. And I know your school districts are. So we need to get those things right so that the money that's here is going to keep growing and not just be, well, it's okay now. It's not going to stay this way forever. It will not. We are on the edge of it. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it. So I'm just saying, let's put a plan together. I didn't touch anything, I swear. But just let's keep things moving in the right direction. And I believe in that, but we're putting the cart before the horse. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Yeah, raise the microphone toward you a little bit, Maggie, please. And speak up a little bit, please.
Maggie Gia, 1519 Boston Avenue.
Better.
I believe that our community deserves an event center. I would help local businesses with tourists and attraction. The event centers draw on conventions, trade shows, and corporate meetings, which typically involve higher spending per attendee compared to leisure tourists. It increases demand for local caterers, transportation companies, florists, printing services, and entertainment providers. And this will help generate significant sales tax revenue for Nederland. And I just believe that this would be a great staple for our community.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Anyone on council? Going once, going twice. The public hearing is hereby ended at 7:29 p.m. We are now on item 4H, discussion and possible action regarding amending the zoning text by adding a new land use events centers to table 13.2, schedule of permitted uses with the appropriate parking group.
I move that we table item H until we can get a definition of exactly what an event center is.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we had Ortiz and Duplant basically simultaneously on the second. Any discussion on that? I would also like to, in addition to the definition, I'd like to see further discussion on the one parking space for every 300 feet. I believe it was. I'd like to see some sort of rationale for that? And if not, lowering the number from 300. Mr. Wheeler's at the mic.
There is one that's one space for every net 100 square feet floor area. That's about the strictest.
Could you say that again? What was it?
Yeah, one space for every 100 net square feet.
That's the strictest one you said, Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, sir.
Well, we got the numbers and, I'd like to see something, maybe flesh this out a little bit better with, what are event centers that we're talking about? Define what it is, and then also, something on the number of, parking spaces per so many, net square feet. I just wanted to add that to y'all's motion. Is that okay with y'all to?
Yes.
To add that to the motion and those who seconded? Okay.
So what you're saying is you want the ordinance or the committee to go back and come back with a definition for event center or whatever they want to call
Right.
these things, venues or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Is it anything over 100 people?
Or maybe it's event centers, this many people, venues, this many people, whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
Come back with something that make sense to the community.
Yeah, yeah, right. And something on the parking ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mayor Pro Tem, you got anything? Don't want to forget about you.
Yeah, thank you. George, is there a zoning for event centers specifically?
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry.
Is there a zoning specifically for event centers? Like we have for R1, R2? Is there one specifically for event centers?
No, not yet. That's what we need to determine.
Okay, yeah, I think we need to, part of the master plan, I think we need to think about maybe adding something instead of adding it to C1 or C2 or R5 or whatever it is. I think we need to maybe, if possible, create another zone for an event center. That's all I got.
And my understanding of the what we would have acted on would have made these permittable in those zoning areas. Also, would it be, I'd like y'all to come back with something else for your motion, so you can shoot it down, what I'm about to say or not. On making it instead of permittable, maybe with a specific use permit.
Yeah.
That's an
Okay,
option.
thank you.
That might be your better option.
Mhm.
Period.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Please add that to y'all's scope then, please.
Then it eliminates somebody building, as Ms. Shipley said, Kyle Field on Avenue H.
All right,
Got to have a definition for it.
all right. Okay, any other from council? No. Okay, all in favor of the motion to table, now, question under Roberts, for how long is your tabling? Is it tabling for an unknown period of time? Is it tabling for 2 meetings? Help me out a little bit.
When's y'all's next meeting?
Well, normal meeting is the first Tuesday of the month.
So I would put it,
So we could have a meeting.
they'd have one before our next meeting, so.
Yeah, the next city council meeting is August the 11th.
That'd be enough
That's
time?
2 city council meetings for now, excuse me.
Yes, 2 city council meetings from then. So you're, 2. I'm.
So to August 11th, to table till August 11th.
Yeah.
Those who seconded, are y'all cool with that?
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler?
Yeah, what date is the first Tuesday?
That would be the 5th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it'll give you a week, or it'll give us a week after you.
And please give send the city council, all this is for all committees and stuff, boards. Please send city council your notice of meetings and all. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any further discussion, council? Okay. Nope. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to table this till August 11th, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. All right, another public hearing. It is 7:36. I am putting the city council meeting on hold to conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving comments regarding a request for a specific use permit to locate an automotive shop for ceramic coatings, vinyl wraps, and detailing at 1837 18th Street. Ms. Dowden, you have something, or is this for Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Wheeler.
Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, sir. Again, the draft minutes from the July the 8th Planning and Zoning meeting. The specific use request reads as follows: David and Jennifer Nguyen, proposed owners of the property located at 1837 North 18th, is requesting a specific use permit for a vehicle detail shop that includes ceramic and vinyl wrap, and also to ask for a 1-year extension from the date, if it's approved, to secure a building permit. The building official explained that the request is not for services such as engine repair, maintenance or overhaul, body repair and painting. The approval of the specific use. The current property owner is aware of this and requests with the sale being contingent on the approval of the specific use. So the owner is aware that they're requesting this. The property is currently zoned C2 neighborhood retail. After a full discussion, a motion was made by Alex Rump and seconded by Dylan Farley to recommend to the city council to approve the applicant's specific use request for a vehicle detail shop with ceramic and vinyl wrap services, with the building permit being secured within 1 year from final approval. All voted in favor of the motion.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Since this is a public hearing, I'd like to have any council member first ask any questions or make any comments.
George, this the old dance studio?
It's next door to it.
Next door to it? Okay, next door. Okay.
Now, the term in the zoning ordinance for vehicle repair and maintenance is defined as establishments providing repair and maintenance services for passenger cars, trucks, and vans, including painting and body work. So, this is a detail shop. It's really not engine overhaul or engine repair or painting of vehicles. But, it's kind of like tire shops. We make them go through a specific use because it falls more underneath the automobile repair shop term. But being that they were having to buy this vacant piece of property, invest that kind of money, and then invest on building a new building, I felt like it was the right thing to do, to go ahead and secure a specific use permit.
I would appreciate it, should we go down that route of approving a specific use permit, that permit states specifically what kind of business
Yes,
they can engage in.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Any member of the public have something to say about this is a public hearing after all.
I will tell you, first and foremost, I greatly appreciate the details in the agenda each week, and that the packet is provided to the citizens as well. I have scoured it thoroughly. I have also compared it to 14.3 of Appendix A. 14.3 says an application for a specific use permit shall be accompanied, not may, shall be accompanied by a site plan meeting the requirements set forth in an approval. So my first question is, oh, that sounds good, a detail shop. Well, how big is the lot? Does anybody on council know how big the lot is? Anybody? Okay. How big is the building they want to put on the lot? Does anybody know how big the building is they want to put it on the lot? I mean, if you're covering greater than what your code allows in concrete on the lot, so you're going to cover the whole thing with concrete, that may impact the houses behind it. But if you're really just putting a little driveway and a 2-car garage, that might be a different thing. So our code says it shall be accompanied by a site plan. And in considering whether, and it says the city, that's you guys, may require additional information or drawings such as floor plans. And I don't mean a $10,000 set of plans, but we got to know what your plan is. And then whatever is presented to you, you got to make sure that whoever's issuing the permit holds them to it. So if they come in here with a thumbnail drawing that they're going to occupy 25% of the lot, then you hold them to it once you grant that specific use permit. But to come in here and say, just trust us, don't look behind the black curtain. We got this. And then they come in and they concrete the whole lot and it floods the houses behind them, or worse, floods the road to and from the high school, which is a one-way in, one-way out if we don't know that. That's a problem. It further says in 14.3 that in considering whether it should be granted, the city council shall determine that the uses are compatible with structures and uses abutting property in the vicinity. So what does this building look like? Not only is what size is the lot that they're talking about and what size is the building, but does it look like a shanty shack or does it look like a metal building with a brick facade? Is it 4 stories tall? Is it 1 story tall? Again, we're coming at you guys are putting things, or there's things getting on the agenda that are not fleshed out. I do appreciate the information in the packet, and I will tell you, there is nothing in the packet that addressed my questions and my inquiries to that on Friday went unanswered as to the plan, the lot, and the dimensions. Thank you.
What, Mr. Wheeler, to do the Mr. and Ms. Nguyen have drawings, have a building, have a site plan, et cetera?
They get a copy of it.
Everything you sent me, let me see.
When it went before y'all, did y'all have a copy? When y'all reviewed it, did y'all have a
Yeah,
copy?
there's an application.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have it.
I don't think we got it. Yeah, we didn't have that, George.
Section.
You have a copy or? Yeah, we can make a
They're
copy.
here too also. The Nguyen's are here to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Hey, Mayor.
Yeah, Jeff.
Hey, I have a,
Mayor Pro Tem.
I have a question for Ms. Shipley. You can,
Ms. Shipley, Mayor Pro Tem's question for you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jeff.
you just mentioned that you requested information on Friday. Who did you request that from?
I spoke to Mr. Jones Thursday or Friday and asked him if he had any additional information besides what was in this packet, and he indicated he did not. I would also like to use my last 20 seconds, since I banked a minute ago, to caution you guys, don't make a spur decision. And that's not fair to have a public hearing without giving the public information in which to have the hearing. So if there's a site plan, and I'm all about small business, but if there is a site plan, it needs to be put out with the agenda at the next meeting so that people can comment on it intelligently. Both the application and the site plan should be in the council packet.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen, I think I saw you come forward, or please come up and introduce yourself to council and tell us what you'd like to do with this.
Sir, David Nguyen, 7645 Ontario Drive. Current owner of R5 Detailing, interested in the property there off 18th Street. I do have, plan already. Mr. Wheeler requested that before we even started the process. So what you have there is kind of early plans of what, is going to go on the property and things like that. As far as the grading of the flooding of water, that's not in there yet, but I did see during our last flood that street does have holding water already. If I continue to build on there, that's not been something I can address. Yes, it is going to add on to that, but that's already a concern there. I have pictures and videos of that already where that corner where the dental office is. It's flooding pretty badly, to be honest, but that was a heavy downpour during that day. As far as how big the building is, you have it there on the plans, I think roughly 5,200 square feet. It is gonna be a lot of concrete, but like I said, I will put the grading in there to bring it all to the front and not towards the back with the neighbors on the backside. As far as, the dance studio on the left or the empty lot on the right, there's nothing there.
What'd you say, George? I didn't hear you very well. Okay, and when does, so we would have to vote on a specific use permit then before we had all that? I got it. You got it. Okay. Any other member of the public have anything to add? Come ahead, Ray.
Ray Herrera, 1140 Chicago. I don't know the young man, but as far as wrap, it's a lot more environmental friendly. It's basically, you don't have a lot of chemicals and solvents and leftover chemicals and solvents. It's basically putting a big sticker on your car and covering it with heat and use like a credit card to smooth out everything. And then after you get tired of it, you heat it up, peel it off, you got your paint job still. So it doesn't have a lot of chemical waste to it. He could probably tell you more about it. That's what I know about people I know that's had it done. So it's not going to be dumping chemicals in our drain. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public? Okay. Any member of the council have to say anything before we close out the public hearing?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. Mr. Nguyen, thank you for your interest in developing in our city. I want to say that first of all. And I do want to just read off of here for the record for the public. I'm looking at the minutes of the planning and zoning. Vehicles are dropped off for service, so traffic will not be in and out everyday traffic. All work will be inside the building and work hours being 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The wash water will be discharged into a grit trap like a car wash, and they do not use added chemicals in the water. He added, this is not a paint and body shop. I just wanted to state that for the record, for the public, for the purposes of the hearing.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Thank you.
Were there any other, other than what we have passed around the council table, and Mr. Jones sent it to Mr. Ortiz via text or email just now. Were there any other records that should have been included in our packet?
Yes, sir. I found an email from Mr. Wheeler. I didn't get until Friday afternoon. We had already been putting the agenda item together because we have to have it posted, and it takes some hours to put it together. And I do have that documentation I can send you.
Do we want to?
Table this.
That was my fault.
That's fine. Yeah. We're still in the hearing, so.
Yeah, we're still in the public hearing. Okay. I'm going to then, you have anything else to close the public hearing, Mr. Wheeler, from your part? If not,
No, sir.
okay. I am going to go on and close out the public hearing at 7:50 and come back into the city council meeting at 7:50. It is now, we're now on item 4J, discussion and possible action regarding a request for a specific use permit to locate an automotive shop for ceramic coatings, vinyl wraps, and detailing at 1837 18th Street. Did you have a motion, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I'm going to move that we table item J to the next regularly scheduled council meeting so we can get more documentation in our notes.
That would be July 28th.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second about Mr. Sonier, Councilmember Sonier. Any discussion, council?
Mr. Nguyen, just bear with us. We're gonna come back on the 28th on this. So sorry for the delay, but it'll be back on the agenda and we'll have a discussion on it. Thank you for being here.
There will be no need for a public hearing on the 28th. Okay. Any other discussion, council? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to table this till July 28th council meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay. Item 4K, discussion and possible action to approve resolution 2025-09, authorizing the mayor as the authorized signatory for contractual documents pertaining to the purchase of property located at 204 North 13th Street and 212 North 13th Street, described as lots 16, 17, and 18, block 17 of Town of Nederland, Jefferson County, Texas. Mrs. Dowden.
Mayor and council, attached is proposed resolution 2025-09 designating an authorized signatory for contractual documents pertaining to the purchase of property located at 204 North 13th Street and 212 North 13th Street, described as lots 16, 17, and 18, block 17 of Town of Nederland. The purchase of property was approved by City Council on November the 11th, 2024 at a regular meeting. Restrictions on the property were removed on June 12th, 2025, which allows the sale of property without deed restrictions. The mayor, according to the resolution, would be authorized to execute the closing documents. I recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Duplant, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Jones. Any discussion, council? Any questions or comments? Audience? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. L, discussion and possible action to approve resolution 2025-10, terminating the license to encroach between the city and Johnny Powell and Jackie Powell related to Dornbos Park and removal of structures. Mrs. Dowden.
Mayor and council, attached is resolution 2025-10 to terminate the lease to encroach between the city of Nederland and Johnny and Jackie Powell related to Dornbos Park. On April the 9th, 2001, a license to encroach agreement was issued to allow licensee to encroach on city property, Dornbos Park. Said encroachments being more particularly shown on an attachment that you received in your packet. In the agreement, item 5 states that in the event the city of Nederland, by resolution of city council of such city, determines it needs the subject property or any part thereof for the benefit of the city or to protect the public, to protect health, safety, or welfare of the public, and it terminates the lease, the license, or any part thereof, licensee shall not receive any compensation, and the city of Nederland, Texas shall not be liable therefore, whether for the value of the property taken, damage to the abutting or remaining property or improvements, loss of business or profit, loss of access or otherwise. The city determines it needs subject property for benefit of the city, specifically Dornbos Park property drainage to protect health, safety, or welfare of the public. The license shall terminate upon the decision of the City Council of Nederland as described in the resolution 2025-10.
Mr. Wheeler? Did you have any?
I don't have anything to add. I think she covered it all. That's, they have a 16-foot easement in the back of his property. And then he's got buildings outside of that easement on public property.
How far into public property does he go? Does his fencing, does he encroach on the public property?
I'd say at least 20 feet.
Mhm. Okay. And it looks like in the packet that there have been communications in 2024, 2020,
2000.
to go to 2012, 2010, 2004, and so forth, including a TCEQ inquiry, looks like last year. Did you deal with the TCEQ person, Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, sir, I did.
What was the gist of y'all's conversation?
That somebody had notified her or TCEQ that there was some type of discharge from his property onto public property. So I went out there and checked and finally found a 2-inch line that was stubbed out into the park property, well, from park property.
Yep.
And notified Johnny, and he said that it was a outside sink to wash his hands, and he thought it was tied into the sanitary sewer, and he said he disconnected it. And
Is that, and I think I also read that was, the area was wet and
yes, sir.
grass grew and all that. Is it still wet back there? Yes.
It's not. But right there where that pipe is, it's not that wet.
Okay.
Down there where he has the storm drain, the gutters,
Yeah.
dumping over his fence into the city property, that's wet.
Looks like a lot of cattails there.
Yeah, as I say, it looks like there's cattails.
Well,
out there.
this is something with
Yeah.
previous city manager I brought up many times. This was actually put in place before, Chris. This agreement was way back. And there's actually another issue to go with it, looking back to all the minutes as well. The brick fence going to the street also passes up the easement by 12 or 15 feet and goes all the way to the curbs. That's another issue. So, this needs to be gone. I mean, it backs up to our park. There's a section the guys can't mow between the maintenance shack and that place right there. That's been brought up many times, and it's one where, you know, if we're gonna do that, then every homeowner from his house all the way up to Avenue H ought to have the same ability to do it, which I don't support. It needs to be gone.
Right. So it's your ward. Thank you for speaking on that, Mr. Sonier. Any council member have other council member have anything else to say about this?
I brought this up last year when I was a citizen, and I was told by the then city manager that everything's okay.
Okay.
I got the same feedback, but now I'm glad to see something being done.
Yeah, I'm glad to see we're here today.
Right. And so, Randy, you're saying that he encroaches in the front as well.
The brick fence,
Yes, sir.
decorative fence goes all the way to the curb. But I think before, George, you had something where a car had hit it and notified him that he's encroaching past the easement as well. It's at 12 or 14 feet, whatever, coming off the curb. That's where that fence should have stopped.
So we need to add that in the front as something else to notify him
That
about.
doesn't, he needs to be notified of it. It
Be
doesn't
notified
bother me
about-
near as much as the water and the potential sewage and everything running off the back.
Right. We'll handle this and maybe add on the 28th, what you're talking about on the front. And also if there's any other people that have built fences, and this is not encroaching an easement in one zone property. This is actually coming 20 some feet, according to Mr. Wheeler, approximately 20 feet into city property, fencing it off and claiming it as your own and building buildings there too.
To kind of give you a little bit of an idea where he's past the road that goes into the maintenance barn, and based on how far he's coming across that property back into the city property, if all the other residents did that, they would be from their fence basically to the curb on the street. It's about the same distance right there.
Yeah.
I've looked at it many times, so yeah.
Okay. Any member of the public have anything to say? Miss Toops, you're coming up.
The encroachment on city property, I went with Duque when he was here, and we had a round with him about the fact in the 700 and 800 block, 14th Street between 14th and 15th, there is alleyway. There's an alleyway in the 600 block and 500 block of 14th and 15th. There are no utilities in the 500 and 600 block, but in the 700 and 800 block, we also own property there. There are utilities in the back, in the easement, it's supposed to be an alleyway. There are people that have moved their fences and closed it all off. And they have full use of it. They have built things on it. They have done stuff. We have been arguing with Duque for years about this, about why were they allowed to do it? Because we asked for the city to either sell us or do something, because we own property in the 600 block from the corner all the way in the 600 block in the in that part that has no utilities. And we asked him to either deed it over to the people that own the properties there, because they've done that in the past. So you start collecting taxes on it. Or do something, but these other people have utilities, and which, like I said, we own a house down there too. And they have put their fences up all the way to ours. We've left ours open from 807 on to Helena. We've left it open. And if y'all are gonna be doing about encroaching, then y'all need to do it all over the city.
We need to have information like you're providing.
Met with Britton about the fact of what is going on in there, and he has been finding out some things for it. Because we have offered to go ahead, and if y'all will deed it to us, we'll pay the taxes on it. I don't care. If y'all want us to buy it, the people behind us don't want it, we will take up what we have from the corner all the way to 609. Because we own that whole part right there.
Continue your conversation with Britton. Let's get something on a future agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little background, I've got an email going with Ms. Dowden about this very alley that wasn't being used. Yeah, we need to take a look. That's when I learned, I think that was the first meeting. I got sworn in, you came up here and you said, hey, I got this alleyway over here we need to look at. Yeah, I've learned that, there's a lot that goes into the city.
I just have to see the tax, like.
Yes.
If y'all want to make that an easement down there where the people can keep their fences there, but it becomes part of their property and the city needs to collect taxes on it. The city is losing money on what is going on.
Since that is not on this agenda, let's continue your discussions with Councilmember Jones, and y'all can have something on a future agenda. We just can't talk about it here.
Thank you, Ms. Toops.
And anyone else around the city that has people have encroached on city property or on alleys, let us know, because we don't know all thousands of properties in Nederland. Bring it to our attention, and action will be taken. Anything further on 4L? I'd like a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Sonier and second by, I'll give that one to Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz. All
that's
right.
good.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. And like I said, next meeting, we'll talk about the front side. So work with Cheryl on getting that on the agenda for the next meeting. All right. I tell y'all what, it's been 2 hours. Before we go to letter M, let's take a 5-minute biological break. I'll be right back.
Stand up, stretch some. And I was looking, I'm like, I hate to do that. I would talk to them. I'm like, I get it. So, I mean, let's just be consistent. And then, just say here, make sense like. I wouldn't make it change, make it say so. Okay. This thing, we will be on this building and get everything on. I mean, we're making nobody. So, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah, we need to. Do something, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't disagree at all. I got calibrated feet. We got it started. He restarted it. We're trying to get it rolling first, and then we're gonna appoint more people to it. Okay. Yes, you're still on the, yes, yeah, we hadn't forgotten about that. We're just trying to get the thing rolling first. Yep. Hey, they sent me an email volunteering. Yeah, you're on the list still. So what's your address? It's Brick. Yeah, you're on the list. We're just trying to get it rolling a little bit, then we'll get more people on there. All right. Did you? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All righty. Let's make it happen now. Let's resume. Appreciate y'all's patience as we attended to some necessary business. Ladies and gentlemen. Is your mic not working? Yeah, hello. Ladies and gentlemen in the lobby, we're getting started up again.
Back in session.
Okay, 4M, receive comments from citizens regarding the real property located at 1123 Canal Avenue, requested by Councilmember Jones.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, any comments from citizens?
Hi, my name is Diana Young. I live at 1408 North 12th Street. My house is zoned for an R1. The property around me on all sides is R1. The home I live in has been in my family since 1967. The map being handed out right now, you'll see in the red, the property in question on Canal, how it looked the fall of last year. I've never flooded on this property. Even during Hurricane Harvey, I did not flood. Yet on June 16th, my yard flooded, not just a little bit of water, but deep standing water, which did not have anywhere to run off. The water came into my lot from the property behind us. It flooded my things. It flooded my storage building. I could not imagine what had changed except for the construction that started at the church. I took photos of the yard, then I contacted the officials on June 17th. I have photos coming around now of the flooded yard. After leaving voicemails with Mr. Guffey and Mr. Pitts, I reached out to Miss Underwood, who was able to pass my information on to Miss Dowden. Miss Dowden called me back, took my photos and other info by email. Mr. Guffey returned my calls, said he was going to view the property and checked all the permits. On the next day, June 18th, I was told all the permits were in order. At this point, I'd still not heard back from the building inspector, so I contacted Miss Dowden again. Mr. Wheeler did call me back saying he checked on the property, spoke with the contractor, claiming my yard only flooded due to the fact that the concrete wasn't poured yet.
Pause 1 second, Ms. Young. I'm not taking away your time. What is your address again?
1408 North 12th Street.
I'm finding it on the map here. Thank you. I found it.
Okay.
Please proceed.
My yard only flooded due to the concrete not being poured yet. Mr. Wheeler told me once the construction is complete, we shouldn't have any issues, but if we do, call back because that means the engineers messed something up. On the very next day, they allowed approval for the concrete to start being poured, knowing that I had a complaint that was negatively impacting my home and the homes in my neighborhood. This makes no sense to me, and the slab is approximately 31 inches from my property line. At this point, I feel like the city's just kind of blowing me off. How would you go about pouring concrete and covering it up with grass that's not helping any more drainage? I've read into the code since then, and I know the building does not belong there. If you see Appendix A, Section 8(3), it is a non-conforming building. On C, it says if it's discontinued or abandoned for a period of 6 months or so, it should not be resumed. On F, it says non-conforming use of an abandoned building reoccurred with any non-conforming use or increased as effective date of these regulations. The building sat vacant for years. The codes do not allow for a commercial building to be there in a residential area. If they were to ask if they were going to ask the council to, the building needs to be not exceeding occupying any land outside the current building. A non-conforming use cannot be enlarged or extended to occupy greater land than what occurred at the time of the land becoming non-conforming. The council needs to consider the code that would require, and I should have received a notice as per section 9. It says anybody within 200 feet of the property should have received a notice for a public hearing on it. I hope all the people in Nederland find the property to do as they wish with, but it needs to be with what is allowed and what you're permitted for. Because this is now causing destruction to my property, my family's property. 60 years my family has lived on this residence. Never had a water issue.
Thank you, Ms. Young.
Ms. Young, are these the pictures you took? Can you walk us through them, please? Yeah, just start at the beginning and work your way back.
The picture of our shed on June 16th. These pictures were taken roughly at 4 p.m. after a major rain. The second picture, same day time, that's my chicken coop. Third picture, that's my garden, same day time. My garden is raised about 2 inches higher than the rest of the yard. It's still flooded. As you see in the soot and everything is runoff from the property behind us. We were told that the construction should have put the tarps on the enclosure a little bit lower down so the sand didn't run off. The next picture is showing how far it is from my fence to their structure there. I did measure it out. I did not keep the photo that I measured it out, but it is 30 inches. They have actually tied directly into my fence that was built on my property in the existing fence line in 2020 or 2021. The next picture is taken, I believe that one was taken from Briarcliff pointing over, as well as the next one showing the building itself and the size of the building. The last picture here is showing the attempt of a retention pond, I guess is what they're calling that.
So you have, let me just make sure the first three are of your yard at about 4 PM on June 16th.
Yes, sir. The shed, the chicken yard, the
Back-
garden. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and then you have two pictures. It looks like they're different views of, that's your fence.
Yes, sir. That is my fence that they have tapped into to be able to brace their structure as they pour concrete.
Okay, and that fence is totally on your property.
Yes, sir.
And then you have a picture, looks like a bunch of, it's a hurricane fence and some plastic wrap things. What is that of?
That's materials over there that they're, building with and everything.
And what is the vantage point here?
Just trying to get different scopes on.
I understand, but where?
This is behind
Oh, this
Briarcliff.
one's from Briarcliff.
Right, from Briarcliff,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll make a note of that. And then you have the building. What was the approximate date of this picture?
Let me see. 1 second, 'cause it's not labeled there, but I can look on my phone real quick. That one was Wednesday last week, I believe.
That'd be the 9th.
Yes, sir.
And then the detention pond, what was it? Was that also July 9th?
Around that date, yes, sir. I've been taking pictures periodically since last month, and most of the buildings of the pictures of the building and everything is from this last week or so.
Right. Thank you for the clarification
Yes,
and
sir.
identification of the pictures. 1 second. Okay, you have anything else to add?
No, sir.
Any council member have a question for Ms. Young? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Any other member of the public? Yes, sir. Come forward, name and address.
Steve Gentile, 504 North 34th Street, Nagel. And I'm the contractor that's building the project for the church.
Yes.
And I'm here on behalf of the church.
Okay.
Excuse my dress and these flip flops. I just got off vacation, drove straight here.
Excused.
Go ahead.
To answer the questions on the flood, the water in the yard and things of that nature. Yes, we did not have the concrete poured at that point. Concrete is poured now. In that site, and I would welcome Ms. Young or anybody else that would like to look at that. That entire piece of property now, with the exception of the curb, is not put on yet. But that entire section of property is under storm drainage. It's got catch basins. The smallest piping in there is right up at the front. There's 15-inch culverts going in there that's being as retention holding into the property. The culverts, the 15-inch culverts are actually bigger than the culverts on Canal Street. And then they go from 15-inch to 24-inch, then into the detention pond, then directly into the drainage district's ditch, Drainage District 7. That was engineered and designed by Southex Engineering, civil engineers, was approved by the drainage district. for that. And during that process, I was involved with the drainage district, with the Southex, as they made us tweak and do and add more and do this coverage. And now when we get the curb poured around it, the curb will maintain anything that hits that property with the exception of the 2 feet between, if you look at the pictures where the fence is and where Ms. Young said that and my guys did nail a nail into it with one kicker onto her, and it's got one nail in it, and it's got kickers every 2 foot holding against that, which they should not have done. And they were, but they're coming off, and that will all, because concrete secured and everything. But once the curb is poured, that curb with its 6 inches and everything slopes according, so the entire concrete and the parking lot is gonna hold another 6 inches bare minimum of water to be retained on our property and then into the pond, into the ditch. And so the only water from the church that could possibly ever go into the yards would be that 2 foot from the fence to the edge of the concrete there. Because everything else, when it rains, comes down, it's going into there. Now, the property has always drained because I've been working with the church for 10 months, almost a year before we ever started, trying to figure out what and this and that. And so everybody's property drains across the church's property and has done that. Kept the church's property, after the rains were over, this was before any construction started. You could go back there and it was a mosquito pit. It was soggy. You couldn't drive a vehicle back there. You drive the lawnmower, it would sink. But everybody drained to the church, and that's not legal in state Texas to drain property across someone else's property. But I went personally to every homeowner on that street because of all the stuff that happened over on behind First Baptist. And I spoke with them. I said, y'all don't get nervous when you see this property, the site, because we're gonna have to build a site up about 24 to 30 inches to properly maintain the water, to get the drainage in there, to get the building up at the same finished floor elevation as the other 2 buildings. And I said, I know when y'all see this, y'all gonna think this is gonna do something to your property, but we are maintaining all our water on this property. And I had numerous neighbors from Mr. Stinson to Mr. Broussard, which is Ms. Young's neighbor, and Mr. DeVries. And so we've always, we've had water in here before. We've never had water in our house, but we've had, our properties got up, but we've never had water in our houses, never flooded. He said, so you're saying it's not going to flood in my house? And no, I'm just saying that if you get enough rain to flood it's not going to be from the church, because the only part that we're not containing is that 2 foot or 30 inches or 24 inches, whatever it is, from that fence to the concrete there is the only thing we're not containing on our property and dumping in the drainage district. So we did a lot of due diligence to make sure that everything was maintained on the church's property and not to, and I do, when you look at those plans, those pictures right there, it looks like it's a major deal. And at that point it was, 100% agree, but it's not going to be that again, because now the concrete's poured, the curbs will be poured hopefully by the end of next week, in which the curb, the way the property, the concrete slopes now, the curb is really nil for this project, but we went ahead and did it to make sure whatever hit, it can't run over, especially on the neighbor side there, because the church wants to be a good neighbor to the neighbors.
Any member of council have a question for Mr. Gentile?
Hey, Steve, where is the drainage ditch where it runs back to? Is it between the church and the LMVA canal?
It's between Briarcliff and,
Yes.
it's
Goes
perpendicular,
towards Twin City Highway.
Okay,
across
I
the
see it.
perpendicular to LNVA.
Yeah, it runs parallel with the
little L.
canal,
I see it now.
but at the back of their property.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's right along the back of the apartments.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It crosses over and goes to,
And
County.
in the process of doing this, Drainage District had asked us not to, where we tied in to their ditch, to not put the concrete reinforced pipes. They wanted two sections of that as part of our original plan with Soutex and everything, which is the same size, but it was just gonna be concrete, and they asked us not to do that and not to enclose it in cement stabilized, because the drainage district is going to be tearing all that out probably toward the end of this year, into next year, and widening. They're gonna over double size of that drainage district that's back there behind our property. And so that's gonna help tremendously too. I mean, on other things for everybody, but that's in the plans with drainage.
Are there any other property owners, neighbors of Ms. Young here tonight? I just want to ask for,
I didn't see.
okay.
Personally spoke to every one of them before we started.
Okay. All right. Well, come to a microphone to speak, Ms. Young. That's because you need to be on the record.
Mr. Craig at 1404 North 12th Street. He was supposed to be here today, but he had something come up and was unavailable to make it. He did tell me that he had a little drainage thing at the back end of his property. And when all of the construction started, that ended up being covered over. So he was gonna put in some new drainage over at his property because he has renters over there and they've had some flooding issue as well, the same time I did.
Thank you. Any other council member have a question?
Miss-
For go ahead.
Ms. Dowden, do we have anybody here with Public Works tonight?
Do not.
Okay. Mr. Gentile, is it your knowledge, is there any city water mains that are at this property that you're aware of?
City, where the fence is on those photographs that she's got right there, there's a 15-foot easement from their property, from that fence into everyone on his property line, the power lines, the sewer line, the water line, and the phone lines all run in that 15-foot easement that is from their fence in toward their backyard.
Okay, so it's from their fence back towards their house.
Yes.
Okay.
15 foot.
Yeah, I'd heard we had a 12-inch water main going through close to that fence. So I wanted to ask that question.
I don't know if it's 12, I don't know what size it is, but I do know there's a water main because that's where we're tying in, and the sewer's there. And that's where we're tying in.
Okay, on the other side of the
On
fence.
the other side of the fence, yeah.
Okay, so we're clear of the concrete.
Yes, yes.
Any other council member, Mayor Pro Tem, don't want to forget about you.
Yeah, thank you. Question. So if there's a water leak back there, do they access it, the water line from the back on the church property or on the personal, Miss Young's property or whoever's property?
I would imagine they would do it on the homeowner's property because that's the easement. The easement's not on the church's property, the easement's on the homeowner's side.
Yeah,
15.
plus it's on the other side of the fence as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Correct. For the record, thank you.
Any other member of the public?
This piece of property was vacant in 2017 and 2018. On August 10th of 2018, George Wheeler issued an electrical permit. And it is signed that it is going to be electrical work that will be personally installed in a building owned and occupied by me as my homestead. That was a requirement of this permit. I
What
believe
was the date of that again, Ms. Shipley?
August 10th of 2018. That was necessary because to get the utilities reconnected in a building that has been abandoned and without utilities for a period of time requires an electrical inspection. If it is a residential, you may do your own. If it's a commercial, it requires a licensed electrician. That's not what happened in 2018. In 2018, Mr. Wheeler issued a building permit for a homeowner on a document that was required to state that it was their homestead. That would make sense since this property is in an R1 zone. I have handed out copies, color-coded, printed at my expense multiple times to this council and the prior council. If you need to pull it up on your phone, so be it, but this piece of land is an R1. R1 is restricted to single-family detached dwellings. And R1, per your laws, nobody asked me to write them, per the existing ordinances, an R1 cannot have a commercial building on it. It cannot, and by a dwelling, you know how I told y'all earlier, there's definitions in appendix 30 or section 30. It says what a single family dwelling is. It says what a multifamily dwelling is. If no one's living in the building, then it's a commercial building. R1s don't allow commercial buildings. Your zoning ordinances were originally put in 2001 with some minor modifications in 2001. They were again amended in 2010 and again in 2017. All of those lined out that you can't build a commercial structure in the middle of a neighborhood. This would be like building a 24-hour daycare in the middle of Allen Meadows. It's just not allowed. You can't put a gas station on the corner of 23rd and Detroit. It's not allowed. It's an R1 zone. This building, no matter how wonderful it's built, no matter how beautiful it's built, cannot be built in an R1. Mr. Gentile served on the Planning and Zoning Committee for this city for, I believe, 27 or 28 years. I'm sorry, on one of the building committees. Mr. Gentile's been in the construction business for a number of years. I would expect that a contractor would have known. But more importantly, your city official should have known this was an R1. Why did he issue a permit for a commercial building in an R1 zone? Even if he did it and thought it was right, residential buildings have to have a 5-foot setback. You heard 30 inches from the fence. A commercial building's supposed to have a 10-foot setback. There is no way you can misconstrue 30 inches to be either 5 foot or 10 foot. This is a slap in the face of all the citizens that the rules don't matter. And specifically, this Mayor Darby was interviewed on June 11th in an interview aired that says no more deviations. That lady flooded on the 16th. Your city officials were aware on the 17th. He poured his concrete on the 19th. Mr. Wheeler knew this was a problem, didn't stop it, didn't inspect it, didn't insist upon the setback. There's also provisions for how much of a lot you can cover. It exceeds those limits. It's 40% for some, 60% for others, but you can look at the aerial photo and you can see that less than 50% of that lot is covered. It is now covered to the very back. Also, in the plans that were proposed, it requires a detention pond that is 9,800 cubic feet. The entire detention has to be 13,000 cubic feet. They're allowed some underground storage and such as that. But the plans that they submitted have a detention pond that is supposed to be starting off at 16.5 feet elevation. It goes down to 14 feet elevation. From 14 to 16.5 is 2.5 feet. But the pond has to be 4 feet. So it's supposed to have a 1.5 foot berm around it. It doesn't. But if you put a berm around it, the water can't run and jump into the berm. This is the same thing as what the 29th Street development proposed to you guys. They were going to build a big hill all the way around the pond, and the water from 4 houses down was just going to run and jump up over the berm. It won't work. If we employ a city engineer and we employ a building official, if they can't figure out this doesn't work, we don't need them. They are hurting us with every permit issued. You go to 29th Street, you've got duplexes that are just feet apart from each other. on substandard lots. If you go pull the plats for the 29th Street lots, they're counting the street. Mr. Wheeler has assisted in making a plat so their lots look bigger than they are because they're including half the street with each lot. It is a game out of that department and it's hurting us. Mayor, you told us on the 11th, no more deviations.
Oh, let me put some dates out here. I became aware of this issue, I believe it was Wednesday of last week.
I
That would
understand
be
that.
July 9th. What are the dates of this permit,
The current.
Mr. Wheeler? Do you have a copy of it? Ms.
Oh,
Shipley?
yes, sir. I have it.
Okay.
I'm sure Mr. Wheeler has it too.
I read it. I think when I saw the information, I believe beginning last Thursday or Friday, I read that the permits were approved sometime in March or April of this year.
I would agree with you. I started to call you judge, sorry, mayor. That they were issued prior to the election on May 3rd. But nonetheless, it's y'all's job to do the law. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I said that from the beginning. Section 8 of Appendix A. I can't scream it any louder.
Getting back, one second, getting back into dates.
Yes, sir.
When did this church buy the property?
2000. Oh, this church has not bought the property. This property is owned by a man named Paul Baker at Ux.
He's a trustee for the church. Is that correct, Mr. Gentile? Come forward, Pastor, if you wouldn't mind, and just provide us a little information. First, your name and your address.
Ryan Thompson, 3504 Terrace. And
What-
so, what's the question?
What date did y'all buy this property?
I didn't bring any of that paperwork. I'm just here for moral support, I guess.
Okay.
I am, yeah, it was 2018, 2019.
2018
I
or
have all the
2019.
paperwork. Paul Baker, as she referenced, was an elder of the church at the time and a trustee as well, along with myself and Christy Worthington, who was also on that paperwork and signed those.
Who are the I know it's a church, and so you're gonna have trustees or some other group that has to be the owners for legal purposes. So who are the trustees now or the owners now?
Ryan Thompson, myself, Christy Worthington, Aubrey DeVille.
So Mr. Baker is no longer
Correct.
one of the trustees, because I think that's still on the records, the tax office records.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All I can speak to is, in terms of this conversation is we want to be good neighbors. We've been there since 2019-ish, went through all the proper protocols from the church's perspective in order to move into that property, purchased it. We've been having worship there since 2019. We've been good neighbors ever since then. There's been no complaints. The church has grown, so we have roughly 145 members, 80 plus children, most of which are residents of Nederland. We've grown out of the current space. We're in 2 services. We don't have any more room for the kids. We kind of exhausted all the other options in terms of how we could potentially grow as a church. But at the end of the day, I mean, we are here. We want to plant roots in Nederland. We're here to be a blessing to the city, and that's what we're intending. to do.
Getting back to some dates here for everybody's information. Who had owned the property before y'all bought it?
Pastor Ben Williams was his name.
Who was he with?
He had a small church in that facility that did not come to fruition, did not grow. And so he approached us back at that time. We were at that point meeting at what is now Pool Aid on the corner of Twin City and Canal Avenue, the old flower shop there. So we were meeting there, and Ben Williams came and proposed us to purchase this from him. The church collectively voted, and we ended up purchasing that property.
At the time of closing or anything like that, did the church know that that was zoned R1?
No.
Do you know what R1 zoning is?
Not by definition.
It's single family dwellings.
Okay.
I didn't know that till a few months ago either, before I decided.
I understand that
No.
a church has existed on that property going back.
Right, but it's not the same church.
Right, correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I have a question. It may be for Mr. Wheeler or Mr. Thompson, whoever. It was referenced that an electrical permit was issued on or around the year 2018. When that inspection was done, was there currently utilities on that property, or had they been cut? And we're bringing, because we're getting an electrical permit, and I'm presuming there's no services there, so we have to get it checked before we occupy it, correct?
Use the microphone, please, George.
He took out an electrical name change permit. And that is just to get the electricity turned on into their name. That's all it was. So I go out there, do inspection, make sure everything is safe. And then I release it to Energy to turn it on into their name.
Was it a name, was it due to a name change or a sale of the property?
It was a name change. In other words, they must have bought it and wanted it in their name. So they come in and take out an electrical permit to switch it into their name, because that's what the city requires the Energy to do, not accept the application until they won't turn it on or switch it into a new name until the city inspects it, until I inspect it and release it to them, make sure it's safe.
Had the property been sold at that time or before that time?
I don't know.
That's a long time to remember. Understood. All right, so it had been, how long had it been turned off? Do you have any idea?
No, sir.
Electricity was not turned off when I can't remember when we voted as a church to purchase the property. At that point, the electricity had not been turned off. So I'm not so sure that the electricity was cut over to us whenever the purchase was made, but it was never cut off prior to that.
Okay, but it was a name change because the property had been sold. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Mr. Young.
Kenneth Young, 2419 Avenue G, Nederland. I just have to disagree with him, even though he's a pastor. I was trying to buy that piece of property because I wanted it, because we were there. And I got keys to it. They gave me the little code to the keys to get them off the door. I took my wife and family through it. The electricity was off in every building. It was hot in there. I had to have flashlights to see some of the areas. And they turned me down for purchasing it, even though I offered more than they offered, because the people that had it wanted it to go to a church if they could. The electricity was off for approximately 2 years before they purchased that building. So it was off. The other church was totally not meeting there at all. The only time the other church was there a couple times in the driveway, they had like some rummage sale where they were trying to sell some of their stuff that they had, like filing cabinets and different stuff like that. But I just want that to be straight. That was turned off for almost 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
If it's imperative, which I don't know that it is or not, I do have pictures of when we were at the property, gathered there for the church vote prior to purchase with the electricity turned on. So I don't know. I'm sure that might be correct.
It could have been turned on at some point.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's, I was just trying to get some dates for.
Yeah, but for our purposes, I'm not, not telling the truth on that.
All right.
Thank you.
And I believe the date of the zoning ordinance, because I looked at it the other day, is September 25th, 2017. So there is no grandfathering. There was this property was not owned by the current owner on or before September 25th, 2017. There was a sale sometime in 2018, I believe is what was said. Now that, but recall that from looking at the JCAD records as well. All right. Any other comments from citizens regarding the real property located at 1123 Canal?
specific code that applies is Appendix A, Section 8, subset 5, and it specifically says no non-conforming use. That would be a church in the R1 building. Within a building may be extended to occupy any land outside the building. Can't build an extra carport, can't build an extra Morgan building. It's your code, it's your law. That one's an easy one. It goes throughout. It's only 3 pages long, and I have more copies if y'all need it. But once a non-conforming use, like the prior church, ceased to operate, which it did, you can't revive the non-conforming use. That's what the statute says. These seem like very nice people. Why didn't a realtor or your building official tell them you can't occupy it as a commercial building? You can't occupy it as a public building. Why in 2018, when the city signed off to let the utilities be put back on, why did they sign off on it as a residence, as a homestead? Why didn't, if Mr. Wheeler thought he knew it was going to be a church, why didn't he say, our laws say it can't be? This is so unfortunate for this group, but if we're doing it wrong as a city, and we keep doing it wrong as a city, that's a problem.
Can you give me a copy of, so I can just review? Don't give it to me. Let me review of that, the electric permit. No, not that, the electric permit. I can get the copy of the ordinance at any time.
Yes, sir.
George, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Going back a little bit, I just want to read this. When I was hired on in 2009, the city of Nederland was well into a major zoning ordinance overhaul. At that time, the prior zoning ordinance completely prohibited churches from locating in R1 and R2 zoning districts. That means the existing churches that were located in R1 and R2 was carrying the status of a legal non-conforming use. The consulting firm hired by the city to consult the zoning overhaul must have acknowledged that the city could not completely zone out churches from any zoning district, including single family. This was due to the Religious Land Use Act, Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, federal law enacted in the year 2000. During this zoning overhaul, the permitted use chart changed from churches not allowed in single family and 2 family to allow with the SUP permit, specific use permit. So at that time, all churches located in R1 and R2 zoning districts moved from non-conforming use to being allowed in the district. This is with the Religious Land Use Act. They can exercise their religious rights on their land. That's what that was saying.
Well, the religion, that law you're talking about says that no one can discriminate against a church, but it does not give a church greater rights. It says that everyone is to be treated equally. They're not to be disfavored if they're a church. They're not to be favored if they're a church. Called remedial legislation. I'm pretty familiar with it.
Well, yes, sir. And I'm no lawyer.
Neither am I.
I
Neither am I.
looked up and read, and it said, the Religious Land Use Act does not allow cities to prohibit churches from locating in residential zoning districts.
That's not,
It
okay.
does say that religious exercise under the Religious Land Use Act, religious exercise is any exercise of religion, whether or not compelled by or central to a system of religious belief in the use, building, or conversion of real property for the purpose of religious exercise shall be considered to be religious exercise of the person or entity that uses or intends to use the property for that purpose. Includes construction, expansion, or remodeling of a place of worship.
They still have to get the proper permits and so forth, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Any other citizen or have anything to add before we go into executive session add on this item? Hearing none, it's 8:51 PM. We're going into executive session and we'll be back. Okay, it's 9:49 PM. The executive session is closed and the regular meeting is back in order. Item number 6, reconvene into regular session and discuss and take action, if any, on items discussed in executive session. Okay, item number 7 then. Discussion and possible action arising out of or related to executive session regarding the real property located at 1123 Canal Avenue. I believe we have a motion here.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll make a motion to table this to our next meeting on the 28th to allow legal to review all the things we discussed today. So this came up pretty quickly. It's kind of unfair to be able to get a good answer in just a couple hours, so we need to have some legal review on that. So that's my motion to table it to the July 28th meeting.
I'll second it.
And we have a motion by Sonia, second by Duplant to table this until July 28th while we're getting legal
Correct.
Advice.
Correct.
Council, any discussion, council? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. It is now 9:50. We adjourn.
Here's that.